You know what? I don't usually. That was terrifying.
Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, episode 99. The
Gretzky!
Yes, thank
you guys remember that commercial?
No, it was a commercial?
It's actually horrible because I think it's like a mentally challenged person that is in the commercial. This is from way back when, but it was a big thing in Canada because he was so happy to see Wayne Gretzky and he yelled out Gretzky. So I hate the fact that but it was such a like an iconic commercial. Everybody in Canada started saying Gretzky.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I do remember that commercial now. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, 99 Gretzky. There's the representative of Canada right over there, Mr. Christian. He's the only one. And of course we. That's why I said Mr. Christian. He's the only one.
Wow.
Did you say Sister Christian?
No, I said Mr. Oh. Holy God, you can't hear, you can't talk. And this guy over here, we just received big word that he's one of the nominees for the Emmy Awards.
All right, here it comes. Does it sound bad?
No, it sounds fine.
You do not sound like you're on AM. No.
Oh, man. What's up, everyone? Episode 99. Gretzky! I don't remember that commercial. You know which one I remember? Speaking of, like handicap with the handicap kid in the "Don't Throw Me Away." Don't throw me away. Do you remember that one?
What, they're throwing away handicap kids?
It's the end of the commercial. I don't remember what the commercial
was.
Throw me away. Yeah, that's what he said. It was a kid with Down syndrome, and he turned and he said, "Don't throw me away." You know.
Now I feel horrible.
I feel horrible. I don't remember what the commercial was for. I just remembered the kid with Downs going, "Don't throw me away."
Was it for an abortion clinic?
I know, right?
It was for the Watsy podcast. I'm just kidding. I can't believe I did that.
You're going to be hearing from Watson.
I love Watson. I love Watson.
Is this the one? Hold on.
Like Joy, can really surprise you with all the things they can do by simply being part of our lives.
Is this it?
Well, it's a Gretzky.
Maybe at the end of the commercial.
Open up your life. Let people who are mentally handicapped be part of your community.
That was it.
That was it. Yeah, it was an icon. The kid's an icon. And now I feel bad, but I remember that commercial. That's how much it was. It was a huge commercial in Canada.
He wasn't saying Gretzky. He was saying, Watsy!
We should find him now.
What a forward thinker.
We should bring him back. Watsy! I'll find him. This is from 1985. We'll think about this.
I found the one I'm talking about. Ready?
Right. Around there. I stored glass. That's my job. I learned the job small. And now I know it by heart.
You can't hear it, can you?
Yeah.
He's just like you. ARC, the Association for Retarded Citizens.
Don't throw us away.
Don't throw us away. Did that sound? You heard that?
I just think it's funny because they say retarded.
Association, like who's that?
This was a very long time ago. This was probably the 80s also.
Oh, we're
the association
Association for Retarded Citizens.
So did that disband in modern times because you?
No, the ARC is going strong today. They're represented very strongly in the Harphilia Network.
The WotC channel.
Oh. Oh, I got an email from Watson. You guys are gonna feel terrible after I read this.
I love Watson.
Read it.
He's not so sure. He's not so sure. We got a couple of emails today. We got a couple movies we're gonna review. We're gonna shame a few people. We're gonna.
Want to talk about? I'll start shaming someone right now.
Okay, shame.
Dave Z right here.
Yeah.
It's Friday the 13th. I gotta watch Friday the 13th Part 1, Part 2. We're recording a podcast. Have you watched Dressed to Kill? No, I'll save that for Saturday morning.
Well, it was Friday the 13th. And hold on, and check it out. I was really tired. I had a real long week of work. I was even in a hotel 3 days this week. I had driven a couple 4-hour drives. I was going to bed at 8 at night, waking up at like 5 something in the morning. It was a long week. I was in classrooms, dude. It beat my ass. So by the time Friday came around, it's been a long week, man. I'm waking up at 6 in the morning. I'm working all day. I'm gonna come home, and I when I review a movie, I want to give it my full attention. I can watch Friday the 13th 1 and 2 with a buzz on half-assed. I've seen them 1.5 million times. That's why I wanted to make sure. I even said we're reviewing 2 movies tonight. So I said I'll watch the first one when I first get home, and that was the other movie we're doing. I forget the title. Pardon me. Shrew's Nest. I did Shrew's Nest as soon as I got home. I wasn't gonna watch Dressed to Kill as soon as I got home. Plus Dressed to Kill seems like a good Saturday morning movie to me. And you know what? Some movies have that. I don't know. Some movies have that feel. They're a Saturday morning movie. And so after I watched Shrew's Nest, instead of going on to watch Dressed to Kill, I was getting tired. I said, well, I got to review this movie. I don't. Let me watch Friday. I've seen it 1 million times. I can sip a little vodka because if I don't drink vodka, I'll fall asleep. So in my defense,
he explained it perfectly. Now I feel assholey for shaming him. That's a perfect. That's fine, Dave.
Yeah, that was the reason.
Fuck you, Brandon.
Brandon was talking shit before I got here. I knew.
Oh, look at this fucker! No,
Isn't that Dave guy watching movies every hour of the night? What?
What? Okay, I'm gonna say something crazy now. As I'm watching Friday the 13th last night, I know it's been talked to death by us and everywhere else. I noticed new things in the first movie last night that I never picked up on before, and I can't wait to share them. Speaking of Friday the 13th, yes, no, yes, yesterday was Friday the 13th. Yes, today is Saturday the 14th. Today is a very special day in my life and in somebody else's life, because 6 months ago today. There was not today. 6 months ago and one day, it was a Friday the 13th of September. Friday, September 13th. Well, guess what happened on Saturday the 14th, the very next day?
Lucky,
yes. Today is Lucky's 6-month anniversary. Yes, he's 6 months old in our lives.
Nice.
Yep, life of Lucky.
Oh, you have a good memory, Brandon. I was like, what would I care about?
I didn't say I cared. I just remembered.
Well, he's come so far. He's doing good. He was able to have his operation a few months ago, to get his nuts cut because we couldn't do it earlier. He was too weak. He kept getting sick. And here's the funny part about him getting his nuts cut. He still wants to hump everything inside. It didn't do anything. It'd be like removing my nuts. I don't think it'd make a difference.
You'd be jackhammering that fucking mic stand in a second.
Really, poor little Ginny can't get away from him still. He's bugging her. It's a scene. I think it's dissipating a little bit, but the bottom line is he's very healthy. He's doing all that great stuff, and yeah. So it's Lucky's 6 month. So really happy about it, And last night he sat on the couch and watched Friday the 13th Part 2 next to me, and literally sat on the couch and watched TV, and he's never watched TV before. So that was the movie he picked to watch.
Don't throw him away. Lucky. Founding member of ARC, the Association for Retarded Cats.
I knew it was coming.
Oh, God,
he is a special needs cat,
No, he's a good boy. We love Lucky. Lucky's
Could be the mascot of the show.
He's deaf. He's special needs. He's like no other cat because he needs to be like held and stuff. It's like he's like a baby. He's like having a child, a baby at that age. That he always wants to be held and picked up, and he'll crawl up your leg until you pick him up, and he just wants to be held and freaking, he purrs. The other cats weren't like that. I mean, sometimes, but I mean, he.
How many cats have you tried to save?
Well, we didn't save.
He's just driving around holding cats.
Yeah.
Dude, I see cats all the time.
Cat ain't purring.
Oh. Dude, there's this trailer park that I read meters in, and there's literally like 20 stray cats in it, and I can't even look at it because I'm like, I can't look in their direction because I can't bring them home. You know what I mean? But that's just the way this trailer park is run.
He's driving at the time, so he's like this. That's stray cats.
Oh God. Oh God.
Hello.
Unbelievable. Nuts. So back to Friday the 13th. Let me tell you something. See, I want you to know, because if anybody else, you're going to know. Okay, here's something I never questioned before. I'm watching it last night. Now Pamela picks up Annie, and there's that scene, and they're driving. Driver, I think the roll for Crystal Lake was right there. Driver, that whole thing, Bug Out City. Okay. How far do you think Pam was going to take her? What was her plan? Was she just going to keep driving? Did she have a house she was going to take her to? And then
it's funny that you say that. That's what I would have expected. Like, she was going to just take her to her house and kill her. And her house is in close proximity. That's what I've built the story up in my head. But yeah, I maybe questioned it way back when.
Yeah. What was her end game? Where was she going to take Annie? That's what I want to know. She just going to keep on driving until she just got to a point or got to her house, Well,
what does anybody that's going to kill somebody that takes them in a car do?
I don't know. But usually in a movie,
drives them to the point where they become suspicious and start, acting strange, and then, end game.
Yeah, but nobody jumps out. Annie's the only one that I ever see jump out of a killer's car. Not only, but you know what I mean.
Jump out head first, but get a sprained ankle.
Maybe she would have stabbed her right in the car.
Yeah.
Well, she could have done that anytime.
Yeah, but it's like you want to play with it.
Conversation. She didn't say a word. I mean, we're led to believe she said a word when they just showed the shots of the car. You know what I mean? And from afar. But
she didn't like children being referred to as kids.
Right? Jason was not a kid. Right?
He was my child.
Right.
Kids. You're gonna die, bitch.
Oh shit. Okay, how about this one?
I love Brandon's face. Whenever we talk Friday, he just looks like he's AME.
Hey, he'll be a Friday fanboy yet. He picked up on something last night, actually, didn't you? What was it?
I did. The archery scene. You took like a really bad screenshot. I was like, is that the archery scene from part 1? And it was.
And he did. Yeah. So he did.
Proud of him.
I was proud of myself because it was a really like poor screenshot, and I was just like, I know that.
You did. See?
That's my good boy.
Awesome. Okay, Christian, if you were a flavor of ice cream, what would it be?
Flavor of ice cream? Holy shit! Where did we get this question? I will be French vanilla. I like plain French vanilla.
You let me down, Brandon. If you were a flavor of ice cream, what would it be? Forget it.
Rum raisin. I don't know. Rocky Road.
Hey, Rocky Road. You got it. You got it. Yes. And Christian still doesn't know why I asked the question.
It was from a movie, but what movie? I can't remember now.
Oh, fucking movie? It's from the movie. Yeah. If you were a flavor of ice cream, what would it be? Rocky Road. Come on, Marcy said it, and then push the kid in the water.
Yep.
Okay.
I have to revoke my license.
There you go.
License.
It's like having fucking JP over here who claims that we're fake Friday fanboys, but I guarantee we would slaughter his ass fucking ×2 in any Friday trivia. But anyway, Rocky Road. I know what Rocky Road is. Huh?
Except for that trivia.
Okay, except for that trivia. But still, I know what Rocky Road is. Do you know? Don't. It doesn't exist anymore.
I don't know what I think it exists because I've heard of it before. But what is it?
It does exist.
Is it like chocolate chip?
I just had it in my house this past week.
It didn't exist.
I said it didn't exist. When I saw that, I'm like, you know what? I never see Rocky Road at the store anymore.
I just bought Rocky Road. Breyer's Rocky Road ice cream like a week ago.
Oh, what? I went on Google and I typed in Rocky Road ice cream. I went to shopping. Nothing came up. The only thing that came up was a recipe for homemade Rocky Road. So I thought it wasn't made anymore.
No, it's still made.
Okay, so what's in it?
It's chocolate ice cream with nuts and marshmallow.
Okay, well,
Oh.
the nuts I don't know about. See, I thought I was gonna come up with a big point. They don't make Rocky Road anymore. I think kids are watching this movie nowadays and saying, "What's she talking about, Rocky Road?" But I guess I'm wrong. Okay, but I will give out some props. The best cereal of all time is Rocky Road cereal.
I
You know
remember
Rocky
that.
Road cereal?
I remember that. Yes.
It was like Golden Grams with marshmallows and and there was chocolate covered, and these marshmallows for some reason had this texture and taste to them. When you bit into them, it was like cool, like a cold type feeling.
I remember that cereal, dude. And the nuts I'm not sure what kind of nuts they are in the ice cream, but they are chocolate covered too. So it's like a chocolate. It's almost like having like a goober with like marshmallow and chocolate ice cream. It's delicious.
Nice story, Goober. You know what that's from, Christian? Great story, Goober.
Some movie.
It is some movie. I don't know.
You know what it is, right? Right, B?
Is that it?
Rocky Road cereal.
There it is,
Oh, it's so good.
I've never seen this before in my life.
It is the best cereal ever.
That's an old school cereal.
Second place goes to S'mores Crunch. You can't get either anymore. They're long since dead. And
You
don't
like
try to
your
get
marshmallows.
I can't help it. In those instances, yes, but I never was into Lucky Charms or all those other marshmallow cereals. But those type of marshmallows, oh man. Anyway, moving on.
What was the quote? What was the quote again?
Yeah,
That I'm
where's the
supposed to
goober
guess?
line? Where's the goober line from?
You don't know it either? Fucking asshole. My name, it's supposed to say G. Ober, but my whatever, my coworker put another O here, so now it says Goober. Fucking asshole. And then she says, great story, Goober. Close. Close.
House
of a Thousand Corpses.
House.
Yes,
That was
sir.
House. Oh yeah.
Thank you for shopping. Red Hot Pushy Liquors. Yeah.
Goober.
Yep. Great story, Gilbert. Okay. How about the scene? Here you go, Christian. When they go in to the snake scene. Okay.
Yeah.
And Bill goes in there. Well, first Alice is in there and she screams, and then he goes in there. And she says a comment to him about something. Haven't you ever been in the woods before? And he rather angrily yells, "We're not in the woods." I'm like, what's the difference? It's his cabin, and there's the woods right outside the fucking door. Why was he that upset about it?
I've never actually really. No, I've never really realized his level of anger, I guess.
Yeah, me neither. Not until last night. I'm telling you, Friday the 13th is the movie that keeps on giving. After all these times, you can still watch it and come up with more things. It's ridiculous. We're not in the woods, he said. I'm like, holy fuck, Bill.
I was going to put that on, but for whatever reason, I was tired, and I wanted to watch something that wasn't going to take any thought process whatsoever. Some people might think that would be fine. I chose Jason Takes Manhattan.
That makes
that
sense.
one takes no brain power to watch.
No, you're right about that. Holy shit. Yeah, good old JTM. Did you enjoy it?
JTM. You never go JTM.
I fell asleep before he got to fucking New York. So I watched 3/4 of the movie.
Yeah, right, basically. Okay, Christian, would you rather go ATM or JTM?
ATM. Yeah.
Yeah. What about ATM? MAT, right? No, wait, what is it?
No to have.
MTA.
Depends. Am I I'm the one that doesn't really have anything to worry about.
You're the mouth.
I won't be with a virus.
You're the mouth. You're the mouth.
I'm not the mouth. Then I'm going JTM.
There should be a porn parody. ATM goes
different.
JTM goes ATM. That'd be a good one, right? Have a guy in a Jason mask hook up a girl looks like Rennie, you know? Oh man. Okay, what else? Oh, here's something that's kind of scary. You know how much I love that scene with Marcy and the discussion about her dreams and how it being, prophetic to her death and how it fucks with me, how good it is. Do you know at the very end, she says really low. She says, "I call it my shower dream." Did you ever pick up on that?
No.
That's what she says. She says they're really low and they're laughing and they're real tight together. So I said, what does she say there? So I put on the, what do you call it? The subtitles. What exactly does she say at the very end? And she says she's laughs, she's like nervously laughs and she says, I call it my shower dream. Now isn't that makes it even more fucked up because of she died right in front of the shower curtain. Right? Yeah, it's fucked up, ain't it?
It's either fucked up or really poor writing.
Poor writing. You don't think that's great writing?
No, it's good.
Because think about it.
It's good. It's good. I'm just trying to be an asshole.
That's what's great about this movie.
One of my favorite movies. I'm just trying to be a dick.
It should have been her outside the shower dream.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. My outside
I
the
call
shower.
this axe in the face in front of the shower dream.
Oh, shit.
It is my favorite kill in the franchise.
It's a great kill.
Jack's kill's better, man.
The what?
Jack, Kevin Bacon, his death is still, to this day,
Well, that would be number 2 for me, but I
think Annie is the best.
I love the after effect of that axe in the face. I just think that's the best looking effect. But I agree with all 3 of those.
They're great kills.
Like Annie too.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. Annie's is great on freaking Blu-ray too. It just keeps getting better every time, which is weird. Usually when things are exposed from the 80s, the tricks they were doing, it tends to get worse because you could see more of the prosthetics and whatever they used. But to me, Annie looks flawless, and the blood
is the kill changing? Is it still a slit throat, or is it changing to like a different kill as the picture quality gets better?
This fucking guy.
It's not changing.
Dave's like,
serious? No, I do think you can see the prosthetic more now that it's gone Blu-ray. I actually do. I also think you owe that, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, to the uncut version, which goes on a few seconds longer before it fades to white.
That's the one.
It's one thing. One time, I actually think I may prefer the R-rated cut. Because you still get the slit throat, you still get the open, you still get the blood come out, and then it fades away. So it's in, out, done. My fave. So that's why I think, although I usually love the uncut versions of things, that time, in that instance, I actually think the R-rated censored version is better.
Really? Annie's kill?
Yeah.
I think it looks perfect. I think if anything,
he doesn't like a prosthetic throat.
I think it looks great. It looks realistic to me. I think the Kevin Bacon one looks hurt, if anything, because it goes on too long.
Jizzes in its face.
Well, not even that. His neck looks too long, and I never really picked up on it before. I can see
such a long neck.
I don't know. But Marcy's, I guess, stayed the same. It's still great. Either way.
That's why I say it's the best.
Either way, I call it my shower dream. That's fair. And I think that makes it even more spooky. Just that they made that movie with the intent of people knowing that people are going to watch this movie multiple times and pick up on it. Because what asshole in the theater is going to watch that and hear her saying, I call it my shower dream, and then put it together later? Same thing when it comes to Jason. What in the theater, who is going to think that if you see this movie one time, that when Brenda's kill, when we're talking about the archery scene with Jason calling her, that in the end, when we get all the Jason reveal and everything, that they're going to say, oh, so that was that little boy that was calling her. I don't think anybody saw that movie opening night and thought that. But I mean, it's almost like they knew that. Usually we always talk about movies, and back in the day, they said, well, they never intended these movies to be watched over and over again. But in this case, it seems like they did, and that's what I think is so brilliant about it. That's like, and keep in mind, when Friday the 13th logo comes out, and I always say it, it smashes glass. They're talking about your television. They're not talking about a movie screen. So it's like they had the foresight to know that the video market was really about to boom.
Maybe they're smashing the shower glass.
It was supposed to be shattering a window pane is what they actually referenced, but I always took it as you're busting my TV, not the movie screen.
Maybe it's Marcy's shower, and it's her outside the shower dream.
If she only had one of those sliding
your podcasting career.
Oh shit. Okay, is that all I got? Oh, here's one. Why wouldn't Bill?
Ratings?
Why wouldn't Bill have volunteered?
Is this a retro?
Listen, well, it should have been in the retro. But no one's ever brought these things up in any retro. So why not? I couldn't help but notice these things. I said, I got to share them. I'm watching the Monopoly game, the strip Monopoly game. And Why didn't when the door flies open and she starts talking about Brenda starts talking about, oh, I got to go back and close my close the doors or whatever. Just getting interesting. If you're Bill, wouldn't you have said, no, stay right here. I'll go to your cabin and go take care of it for you. He's got 2 half-naked girls in the room.
That's why he didn't want to leave. No, I'm staying right fucking here. Have a fun, Brenda.
Oh,
but that would have been his move. That shows that he was maybe into Alice then, because that would have been his move to put on Brenda. Well, I'll go help you close those windows, lady, and then go out with her. He had no interest, so I guess he wanted to stay with Alice.
Okay, see,
and bring her to Wonderland.
All right, Freddie.
Them's the jokes.
Right. I was thinking along the lines of I'm gonna get 2 girls naked here, 2 girls, not just one, especially at that age.
Well, you can play guitar.
No.
Sorry, drop the coffee. That's why I have this, so it won't spill. It's okay. All right, sorry. Oh yeah, that's a good point though. Yeah, I guess maybe he was making a move on Alice. I mean, she did kind of like his sorry ass guitar strumming. So
that always got the women wet in the 80s. GGC. I'm out of tune. What the fuck?
Ratings?
So there you go. Still a 10 out of 10. Still a 10 out of 10. Still the greatest. So, man. I had a great time watching it last night, 1 and 2. I really did. So, there you go. So, yeah.
Love it, too. It's an all-time favorite. So.
Boy, absolutely.
I want to hear this fucking Watson email. Are we okay to start doing it?
Why not? Let's talk about the Watson email. Now, we're going to go... It's serious business here. I'm glad we got some... Is it going to piss him off? He wrote it.
Us?
I don't know.
Piss him. Watson off us.
It's not going to piss us off.
No. Okay, things are going to get real serious now. I was trying to... It's okay. I'll shame somebody else when it's over and we'll get back to laughs again. Okay, so... This is the email from Watson. The headline is, what the hell is the deal, guys? And the hell is capitalized. Okay, so, hey, fellas, it's your quote-unquote thin-skinned friend Watson here, and we need to have a motherfucking talk. As you guys and our respective listeners know, I adore this show, and I've been happy to be on as a guest every time you've extended that invitation. I hope we'll mix it up even more in the future, but before any of that, we've got some things to address. This message is specifically for Brandon and Christian. I am being 100% serious here, in capital, 100%, which I know is difficult for you two, but help a brother out. If you'd be so kind. Okay. Right now, as I write, I am listening to episode 98, and this is the second show in a row now where you two seem to think you've offended me, or else that there is some implied history between us where I am apparently unable to take kindly to your jokes about me. Answer me this honestly, guys, and answer this for those listeners who know me as well as they know you. Where in the world is this coming from? I'm not going to let you answer yet. Have we ever had one single exchange where I was even remotely upset? Because I can't think of one. I really can't. And the reason is because there are no incidents of this sort. I mean this, too. Go over our private messages and the chats we're all in together, and I challenge you to find anything there that points to this newfound perception that you two seem to have of me. Uh-oh. I thought.
No. I wasn't. No, I'm not leaving. I honestly have no fucking clue what he's talking about.
I thought Christian got pissed off. Okay, no, he's not.
No, I really don't know what he's talking about. This must be aimed more at Brandon.
Okay, well, I don't know. He says both, but hold on. I think you two are hilarious, and I love, bold and capitalized and underlined, love that I'm often the random subject of your conversation. Well, I'm glad you're loving this. It makes me feel good and like we're homies. Who the hell doesn't like hearing themselves talked about? My ego gets boosted every time you bring me up. Listen, I'm not an emotional person, you guys, and I'm especially not emotional when it comes to online interactions, so what the hell gives? As I'm typing this and listening to episode 98, Brandon is currently talking about how he won't say a bad word about Watson anymore. Because he says, I got upset with him after episode 97's Watson-related hilarity. Full disclosure, this did not happen. I am not currently, nor have I previously been at any point angry in the slightest with Brandon. I have no clue where he is getting this. I really don't. I'll even post screenshots of the chats we're in if there's any doubt there. Right now on my headphones, Christian is talking about how you always have to apologize when making fun of me, and Dave is going on a rant about sensitive people online. Somebody tell me that what in the world is going on here? I feel like I'm going out of my mind. I feel like you guys are either playing an elaborate prank on me, or there's been some legitimate...
It worked, Brandon.
It worked, yes.
Misinterpretations going on between us. But instead of talking to me about it personally, you do so through the podcast, which is lame, but is also quite funny, honestly. Haha. Does this possible misinterpretation stem from my playful responses to Brandon and Christian, where I joke that you two hate me? Because those are jokes,
yes.
Guys. LOL.
That's where it comes from, but it's just a joke. We'll get into it. Sorry, I'll let you finish. I apologize.
No worries. Other than a few small comments, which exist openly on your Facebook page for everyone to see, there is nothing else I've ever said that isn't just business as usual when it comes to our typical ball busting with one another, which leads me to believe that you two seem to be able to dish it out really well, but apparently think anyone who dishes back is offended. And that's a bummer. I mean, you guys aren't that funny, LOL. I love you guys to death, but I'm actually getting upset now that you think I'm upset, and I feel mischaracterized as all hell. If you two want to project your guilty consciences onto me because you actually feel bad about insulting me or whatever, then fine. But at least own up to it. And stop making me look like some dude who can't take a joke, because I think all of it is fucking funny. I love joking with the homies and busting balls, but now here on your show you're publicly making me look like this asshole who is pouting in the corner when you insult me. And I just don't get it. When has this ever happened?
This letter's helping.
Yeah, this isn't passive aggressive at all.
Good. And what's worse is you've actually got the one Exploding Heads host I actually like buying into your bullshit. So Christian, Brandon, I'm smiling as I write this, but in all seriousness, give me an answer here about where this all comes from, because as much as I truly and honestly don't mind in the slightest that I'm the subject of your joking sometimes, I absolutely do mind when there's been a misunderstanding or when I feel that I'm being inaccurately represented by close friends of mine. It's not emotional, it's just common sense. And on my end, this means letting you know with 100% sincerity that I have never been upset by you guys ever, and that all is well on my end. No animosity, no hard feelings, and that's that. My hope is that we can get this shit out of the way so you guys can go back to being the regularly scheduled assholes I know and love. Keep the kid gloves off, for fuck's sake, and more importantly, stop feeling bad about it. And even more importantly, stop thinking I feel bad about it, you fucking skunks. Anyway, guys, I love you.
I don't feel remotely bad about it.
And I'm supportive as hell of the new direction the podcast is taking. I will certainly be a patron once episode 100 hits, but it'll be the lowest possible payment. You can count on that. Cheers, Watson.
Thanks for your $3.
Let me relax and let you guys talk. And let me sip this coffee.
I'll have to let Brandon talk, actually, because to be totally honest, my interaction has always stemmed from the online jokes back and forth, and it is one big joke. So him saying I'm not making fun of him, he's getting offended, was all me feeding off of interactions that you guys have said. I'm pointing either way because on my screen, you guys are here, but when it's recorded, I don't know exactly where I'm going to be on the screen. So
this has shown one thing, and I don't know if I should be proud of this or not, but I am a fucking master troll. I really am. Because
troll?
in the fresh cut chats, I love to troll, and this is stemming from conversations in that chat where I've said many times when Watson posts or something, I'll say, Watson doesn't like me, he's mad at me, he doesn't think I'm his friend, stuff like that, and I did that constantly for a good couple of weeks, and it must have gotten to him where he thought I was being serious, where I totally wasn't. I'm never serious, but people take me seriously. It's the same thing that happens with you sometimes, Dave, when you crack a Facebook joke and then you have to leave for 6 months.
Right.
That's what happens in the group. I've never been mad at Watson. There's only been one time I've been mad at Watson, and that is the one cut of the dead incident.
Oh, I don't even know. Oh, why? Because he didn't have it on his list?
Yeah, because it tricked me into thinking it was his number one and then pulled Ready or Not out. But we even joked about that. But I've never truly been mad with him.
And I just wrote this in a text yesterday, and I'm going to come across as a total asshole here, but I very rarely care what anybody thinks about anything. I'm very self-centered. I'm just here to talk, and sometimes listen to you two.
Well,
I'm sorry. That's why I don't engage in these chats that are fucking lighting up my screen. And I'm like, I'll just chime in, say something stupid, chime right out. I don't care. There's no connection.
To make up for the situation, I'm gonna donate $10 to ARC in Watson's name.
Just make sure it gets back to Lucky somehow.
I almost feel like I should edit that whole letter out because I feel like it's going to hurt the Watsy show.
Nothing's going to hurt the Watsy show. Matter of fact, believe me. The Watsy show is, I tell you what, we're doing really good. Have you listened to like our last two shows? They're some of the finest work we've done. Oh, they're so good. I'm telling you, the deep dives are so good.
I got Sirius XM now. I'm listening to Stern. I don't listen to podcasts anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, I have stopped listening to podcasts actually a long time ago. Other than a handful here and there. But I mean, that's it. If I tell someone I'm checking their podcast out, I definitely am. But religiously, I'm not like you, Dave. I'm not listening to any shows anymore, really.
You should really listen to Wadsy, at least that, just for the deep dives
the
alone.
Loved Ones one? I love the Loved Ones movie, so I'll have to definitely check that one out.
There you have it. That's good. Now, I understand why C is saying that thing about other people's opinions, because other people get too uptight about that. Like, it was mentioned in chats last night, and I said, well, Christian never gives me a hard time or be a hard time about our opinions. He listens to our opinions, and when we have a disagreement on an opinion of a movie, we never argue about it. Nobody takes offense to it. I think the reason Christian is the way he is now, what he's saying about himself, is because the people in the community get too offended and get freaking all fired up about their love or hate for a movie. I see it in the chats.
Yeah.
There's certain things you bring up, and it's like me with Nightmare on Elm Street 4. I've addressed it online on podcasts several times. I'm not going to repeat the same things. This is my opinion of it. I think this is stupid, and I don't just think something's stupid. I tell you why I think it's stupid. I'm not just, some people just want to say, oh, this movie is awesome, 10 out of 10. When I know it's a piece of shit. I'm like, okay, why is it a 10 out of 10? They don't want to explain things. Certain people that we know, they just blindly love everything, especially franchise movies, and they can't look at them objectively and say, okay, this, like I said, Jason Takes Manhattan, even if I give it a 3.5 out of 10, I'd still rather watch it than a lot of 6 out of 10 movies. That is a fact. That is a fact. Objectively, I think there's a lot of problems with Jason Takes Manhattan and the plot and everything else and all this other stuff. And this other movie might be a 6 out of 10. It might have a perfect plot with no plot holes and no stupidity, but nothing else about it really gives me that feeling that I get when I watch Jason Takes Manhattan. So I'm willing to say that it's not a good movie at all, and it's not to me. But I'll still watch it over some other ones. And
you're probably right. And I don't want to get away from what Watson's saying because I want to address that as well. I think it's an extension of the joke. Like, that's where I've been going with it. Like, I mean, honestly, that's why I figured the whole, like, you're getting offended thing was more directed at Brandon, because I don't think I've used those terms. I may have brought it in because, Dave, you do the other podcast with them. But for me, it's just a constant extension of the joke. You come on the show, I pretend I don't want you here, but obviously we want him here because because you guys keep inviting him.
Okay, maybe Watson is the ultimate troll.
No,
maybe Watson is smart.
Yeah, well, maybe
he
sees plug Watsy.
He's not plugging Watsy. He's beating you
That's
at
not
your
a
own
plug,
game.
That letter.
Right, it's not a plug.
Yeah.
Maybe he's trying to beat Brandon at his own game. See, Brandon, that is a master troll move, and I kind of do the same things in chat sometimes. Mostly busting balls about the how often these freaking people go on Skype and fall asleep like.
Dude, I will not stop now. And people have written to me like, you used to Skype all the time. Didn't you love it? Of course I did. And
but I made fun of you when you did it too. So I'm an equal opportunity.
I know, but I still make fun of it. But even with movies, every time I say a movie's a piece of shit, I hate this fucking movie. People don't realize that the movies that I'm talking about that I hate, if you go back and listen to our reviews of them, I give them like 7.5s or 7s.
Right.
Like it was the Belko thing. Everyone's like, "Why do you hate Belko experiments so much?" I'm like, I give it a 7 out of 10. I don't hate it. So it's just an extension of the joke, and Watson's trying to get me to fall off my game, but I'm still gonna joke about him. I'm still gonna make fun of him, and it's it's just gonna.
If he has a problem with it, he could stand up on that fucking soapbox, look us eye to eye.
Uh-oh.
No, he's only an inch. He's only an inch shorter than me, and 8 inches.
I'm not talking dick.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what about compared to JP?
And 8 inches taller than JP.
And I'm not too far off. I'm only like barely 5'8", so I'm
and
a tall cat.
And again, I feel like I maybe I haven't given him everything he wants. I don't care. Maybe I am falling for his good. But when he got, there's one person that blasted him anonymously on our YouTube channel in the sense of like, I don't want him on the show anymore or whatever. And I said, hey, he's a friend of the show. Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's on the one where I said I stood by him. Like, I mean, this is jokes. Wow. This is the jokey interaction. So again, he says he can take the joke. So I'm a little. I'm a little confused, I guess, because I feel like I'm not the one saying he can't take the joke.
Yeah,
I make fun of the
I know plenty of people who hate Watson, but to be honest, I love him, and I'm never gonna stop wanting him on this show. I want him here now. I just can't find myself, making fun of him because
it's just our patrons hate him, so we can't have him on anymore. So it's a constant problem. See, it's the joke part of it.
See, I agree. It is, and I think either Brandon's the master at it, and Watson's trying to beat him at his own game. And maybe I shouldn't have pointed that out because maybe I'm really not even trying to play a game. I just like to troll. Well, that's the game. It's a master. It's a master of trolling art. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're doing.
You just broke this down. That's what you said.
And it's only coming. You know what it's stemming from? It's not even like a malicious place. Like I'm not I'm trying to like get a little rise out of people. I'm not trying to create conflict like this or anything. If it even is, Watson, you fucking scallywag, you. But it's because like you talked about earlier, everybody's very serious online, and it just gets too heated in a very serious way. So I just like to break it up by cracking jokes and cracking wise.
Here's what I think.
Okay, shoot it, because I have one other thought, but that's it, and then I thought we should move on. No, but okay, my thought process is that you tell him, David, I'm being honest here, that we had a patron level that was like no Watson, and that was the most hit.
Yes.
He'll find out when he joins.
All right. Is that the one he's going for?
The no Watson level. Nice. Oh, shit. That's great. Okay, listen. B, this is what I do with everything. I psychoanalyze everybody, and I always think everybody's actions, I always try to figure out the reason for them. I don't know why I'm this way. I naturally am. A lot of times
I'm getting shamed right now.
A lot of times it comes to people's defense. Like I had a 3.5-hour ride with a friend from work, and she was talking about coworkers and why they do this, and there's a couple that do this, and I'm like, well, think about it from this perspective. Maybe he was brought up this way, or he had an older brother, bottom line is every time she and she's a great girl, but anytime she had something about someone at work that she doesn't know why they do that, I psychoanalyze them. I said, well, think about it this. Maybe this is the learned this, and this is the result. A plus B equals C. And I do that with everybody. And usually it's to their defense. But other times it's not necessarily to their defense because it is, but I'll end up insulting somebody else because someone else turned them into this. And I don't mean to, but this is my theory on B. B was involved in numerous chats with a smaller circle, part of the big circle we're in now, but a smaller part of that circle. And I think that in that circle, there are some toxic things that have happened in that circle, and the way people bust each other's balls isn't always the most good-natured the way we do it. And B kind of pulled himself away from that scene a little bit. But because he's so used to that type of behavior amongst that clan, he used to be kind-loving, fun-loving B in our chats. It seems like he's bringing a level of that type of behavior into these chats because it's almost like Stockholm Syndrome. He kind of misses, or he's so used to that type of behavior going on in those chats with those people that's what he only knows chats to be. That's what I think.
I don't even see it. B, I don't see this. Probably because I don't give a fuck about the
No,
chats.
it's not. It's a good theory. I wish it was true. It's just that people are saying a lot of dumb things lately, and I'm trying to be as playful yet insulting at the same time, because I don't want to end friendships, but I see a lot of stupidity out there.
So do I, but you didn't used to be this way. You didn't used to be this way in chats.
People used to be smarter. I don't know what happened. Maybe
This is it. Like, I can't say it anymore. I'm gonna come off more assholey with every sentence that I say, because like I've said it here before. I really, at the end of the day, don't give a shit. I want to do the show with you two.
I'm not gonna say I don't give a shit about their opinions. I just don't let it affect me.
That's your opinion. Here's mine. It's not affecting me, but it seems like people are thinking it is, to an extent where I'm acting a different way, where it's completely not. I could care less. Ultimately what people think. I hope they know I'm just teasing. I wouldn't be in the chats if I was completely miserable and not joking.
You have no choice in Fresh Cuts. You'll just keep adding you back.
Yeah, but even then, like that's the chat I troll the most in, and people I don't think anybody really gets annoyed.
Well, that's because people. Well, I don't know. They might get annoyed, but in that chat, they're more likely to get annoyed than in other chats.
Yeah, they are. They're very thin-skinned. There's Watson in there.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying that they're more likely to in that chat compared to others. And it's like I always say, people hold on to their opinions like they do their balls. So I don't know why. I could be as good as a detective as I can be, and I could point out and say, this is why this is a bad movie. I'm going to give you examples A through M on what sucks about this movie. And if you love this movie and I tell you all that, you're still going to look at that list, and I'm going to have all the evidence in the world as to why it's bad, and you're still going to say, I don't get it, I still think it's great, and not even try to retort those ideas in the right way. And that is fine. That is fine. I will tell you this. I don't like myself very much, but I like this about myself. I like that I can have my mind changed and my opinion changed. Why most people can't, I don't know. I think maybe it's a slur on they think it's a slur on them as a person when someone says something like, oh, you know what? That isn't a very good movie. Thanks for pointing that out. It happened to me with The Invisible Man. I rated The Invisible Man something, and then I listened to a podcast, and Nudie, of all people, pointed out one or two things, and I'm like, oh, you know what? That didn't make sense. Okay, it's not an 8 anymore. It's a 7.5 for me. I can do that. It's true. I can do that. I have no shame in saying that. Listening to other people dissect the movie or discuss it and bringing up points that I haven't learned or known can bring a movie up or down. Hell, it's happened with the three of us. Haven't we had discussions?
Absolutely.
And it brought our rating up or down at the end of it? It happens. But some people are like, this movie is awesome and there's nothing you could do to change my mind. And that's fine.
Most of the times, honestly, my biggest effect is people have brought up movies for me. I rarely find myself going down like you mentioned.
I'm not so sure.
You mentioned The Invisible Man before, and you talked about that last week. And I guess if it's a plot point, it's like, oh yeah, like you almost had me with The Orphanage, which Watson was on. We had a great time, but but there was something towards the end of The Orphanage where you guys brought something up. I was like, oh fuck yeah, that is a plot.
Right.
Still
Watson.
Still a 10 out of 10.
True, but see, that's the difference between you and me. If I love a movie and someone says, well, wait a minute, did you not notice this about this movie? I'm like, oh, wait a minute, you're right. This movie isn't as good as I think because that's lazy writing to me, or that's something that they left off that they should have addressed. That's where I'm saying I will lower my rating. I can still love something. I love plenty of movies, but they're not all 10 out of 10. You know what I mean? There's plenty of movies I love, but when I give a 10 out of 10, that means I really love it and I really don't see, flaws with it that are worth even mentioning, because there's no such thing as perfection. I don't care what you say. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you what, though, I looked at my top episode. We may as well plug it. Next show is Top 100, episode 100. And I think that I had only 5 movies that were a 10 out of 10 for the whole decade. I believe that's what it was. So I don't do it that much.
Yeah, you know what? I was surprised because I used to feel like I gave out a lot of 10s, but over the last couple of years, I have not. And a lot of the 10s we've given out in the past have been for older movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the newer movies aren't getting as many 10s. But, I really just hope Watson's not mad. I hope he's just playing now because
Oh, he's starting a new show called Thin Skinned with Watson.
Well, that was a joke. I made that
Podcasting
joke
soon.
I made that joke online, and he and I just continued it with
You can
last
tell that
show.
that's what did it.
Well,
the thin-skinned comment.
It is because I made that comment online in the group chat, and then last episode my whole gimmick was, you can't get me to say a bad word about Watson, so that was the joke in itself, and I'm explaining.
You can just see him doing whatever he does today. It's cementing whatever he's cementing, and just stewing in his own fucking rage, with a smile on his face, evident.
I love Watson. I can't wait till he's on the next show and we can shame him in person.
Yeah.
What next show?
He's not on the next show.
The next show he's on, I said.
Oh, I thought you thought he was going to be on episode 100 for some reason.
No,
the patrons. Think of the fucking patrons.
Think of the patrons. Yes. I am thinking. I always am.
Man, Dave, our people must be talking about me in chats. Because did you notice that when I said I think people, aren't getting mad, he kind of like, I don't know, your reaction. I feel like you're getting private messages about me at times.
No, I assure you I've taken no private messages from anyone involved in any chats in months at all. I promise.
In months.
That I can think of, that I can even recall. That's what I'm saying. Anyone that I've talked to, I don't recall that at all.
I'm still gonna troll Venom the next time he says he loves a movie.
See, hopefully Venom is listening.
Weeks was him with the flu. I'm sorry, Venom.
At least it wasn't Corona.
He's a fucking patron, and we're making fun of him. Equal opportunity. I love the guy.
That's why I like doing it, because I like the guy. It was Tigers Are Not Afraid. Tigers Are Not Afraid. I mean, it was his #1 movie last year.
Venom.
Yeah. And he's talking about how much he loves it, and he's chatting with someone, and I'm just like, it's not even horror. That movie fucking sucks. It was my #4 movie. I fucking loved it. I absolutely loved the film. Dave thought it was going to be my #1, but it's still, I don't know why. Venom was talking seriously about it. I just was like, fuck that movie. I don't know why I do it, but it's funny. To me, anyway.
And honestly, Dave, you said that you're going to get onto like a more important topic. So what was the next thing we're going to talk about?
Oh, more important topics? Well,
get off this piece of shit.
Okay, let's get off it. We're going to have new levels in the Patreon after episode 100. We've talked about them, right? So I think after this show drops, like to the public 99, we'll put them out there. So now, basically, the one level where it's always pick a movie, it is now going to be pick a 2020 movie, because we're going to try to do the 2020 movies mixed up with. They pick the 2020, we pick the old one that we think will go along with it. But instead of just having that, we're going, and I may have already mentioned this on the show, on the last episode, but we're going to come up with a few more things, for the Patreon. I guess it's good to say this now because people that are on the fence about it, they'll know the kind of things that we're going to be offering there. So one of the things we're going to do, and these levels are all the same amount except double features, but the one that's there now, that is pick one feature review, it's going to be the same thing. We're also going to offer another thing for the same price of because we decided that we love talking about slashers, we love talking about found footage movies, so why not put the slashers on there on our list that we have never talked about and that aren't franchise movies, and the found footage movies from my list that Christian watched a lot of them and found footage one. That list that I have, those are two lists and then a double feature. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to tell you about the slasher list. These are all movies that made either me or B or C. Our slasher list in our top 50 when we did our top 50, episode 50, that we've never talked about before and are not franchise movies. So I'm going to just say real quick what they are. Killer Movie, Hide and Go Shriek, Killer Workout, Final Exam, The Dentist, Shredder, House on Sorority Row, Hatchet, Girl House, The Town That Dreaded Sundown, Black Christmas, Intruder, Silent Night, Deadly Night, Maniac Remake, Girls Night Out, Curtains, Tourist Trap, Night School, Bad Dreams, House of Wax, Identity, Fatal Games, Nightmare Beach, The Door That Drip Blood, Eyes of a Stranger, The Initiation, Laid to Rest, and Curtains. Those are all movies that we've never given a full review.
He said curtains twice.
I said curtains twice?
2 curtains.
I must love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I will.
One of them meat?
Meat. Roast beef.
Meat, yeah, meat curtains, beef curtains and meat curtains, as they've been called, right? So
and roast beef curtains. You never heard roast beef curtains?
Yeah.
Only when I go to Arby's.
So that's going to be in a list.
You have Arby's down in the States?
Yeah, we got Arby's. You know why they call it Arby's, right?
Because we got the meats.
No, come on. Anybody know why they call it Arby's? Okay,
It looks
because
like an ad for Hustler magazine.
no, it does not. No, because roast beef, RB.
Ah.
The more you know. Yes, Arby's. Okay, so
Christian, you could take that out in post, right?
Yeah.
it's the truth.
The last half hour. What's this gonna be like? What happened to my letter? That would be the best. I'm gonna edit it right the fuck out.
Imagine that.
Just us talking about it after, not the letter being read.
Yeah. What the fuck, guys? Fuck.
Yeah, so we got a letter from Watson. We're not gonna read it though. We're just gonna talk about it.
Perfect. I'll edit that part in. I got my work cut out for me.
There you go, buddy. Okay, and now the famous Dave Z found footage challenge list. All these movies are going to be on the list. We've never done a review of them. Get ready. Listen, here's what we got. Man Bites Dog, Alien Abduction, Incident in Lake County, The Last Broadcast, Nori the Curse, Alone with Her, The Poughkeepsie Tapes, Lake Mungo, Home Movies, Wreck 2, The Last Exorcism, Atrocious, Troll Hunter, The Tunnel, Megan is Missing, 388 Arletta Avenue, The Bay, Crow's Nest, The Conspiracy, Amber Alert, Devil's Pass, Afflicted, The Den, Exists, Alien Abduction, Inner Demons, The Taking of Deborah Logan, As Above, So Below, The Possession of Michael King, Creep, What We Do in the Shadows, House with 100 Eyes, The Visit, Nightlight, The Triangle, Winter's Tape All, Savage Land, Found Footage 3D, Butterfly Kisses, A Record of Sweet Murder. They will all be eligible to be picked for a feature review. So there you have it. And we kind of talked about the double features. We didn't finalize them, but this is what we have so far. The Shining and Dr. Sleep, 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, It Chapter 1 and 2, Get Out and Us, Tales from the Crypt and the Vault of Horror, and Demons 2. And if any of these guys can come up with one off the cuff right now, that'll go on. But that's what we have so far. But those are double features. So there you have it. No, I know it's not so easy. And we're gonna in the ones we have now that are on the page. We have the pick the trilogy. Sometimes it's a quadrilogy, but we're gonna add Conjuring 1 to 3 when the new Conjuring comes out, and we have got to do Prom Night 1 to 4. I can't believe with the infamy of Prom Night 4, we've never put that on the list, but it's got to be given a full
Guarantee
review.
Brandon's gonna love it.
I might. You never
I hope
know.
somebody takes us up on that one.
It'll be a 7 for you, I bet you.
And then one more thing we're going to do. There's going to be another one. Pick one movie from the list. I myself am going to come up with 10 movies, any 10 movies that are horror movies that I want to review and never have. And so is B and so is C. And it's going to be a big pile of 30 movies, and you can pick one from that. So that's what it's going to be. There's going to be lots of different things out there. It's going to be a lot to choose from and a lot of fun. So that's what the future holds. So there you go. Does that sound good?
Sounds excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so nobody's mad. Yeah, but only so much is going to happen. But it's going to be 3 episodes a month. So basically, the bonus episode might just end up being a review episode where we review 2 movies. So be it. We'll see.
Hey,
or maybe we'll have a higher.
Too.
Maybe we'll have a higher patronage that says, "Here, do this and don't do any reviews on this show. I just want a bullshit show." How about that?
Bullshit.
That'd be cool.
We've given them 99.
Oh shit! Let's say we review a movie, then we'll come back and play around some more, and then we'll do another movie and Jet.
Let's do it.
Sounds great.
All right, let's do it. B.
All right, let's start with 1980s Just to Kill, written and directed by Brian De Palma. A mysterious blonde woman kills one of a What?
Uh-oh, is it spoiler?
Mysterious blonde woman. Oh, okay. No, never mind. A mysterious blonde woman kills one of a psychiatrist's patients and then goes after the high-class call girl who witnessed the murder. It just sounded, when I read a mysterious blonde woman, I was like, wait, what mysterious blonde woman?
What?
What do you mean? The whole movie, they're trying to find out who it is. What mysterious blonde woman?
You know what? Okay, let me say, after you've seen this movie once, I feel like upon rewatches, the gimmick doesn't work as well. And I find for a movie that's, Brian De Palma shot so well, acted well, I feel like there's something missing because it's structured weird. It feels like it drags from start to finish. and especially in the second and third act.
See, I don't see that at all. I do agree now, though, that maybe this shouldn't have been on my slasher list unless it brought it to people's attention that hadn't sought out the film before. Then I'm glad it was on my list, but it's not a slasher film, even though it does have that nice slashing. There should have been at least another kill in it to elevate it, at least another gory kill anyway, to elevate it, because that nurse's strangulation you can kind of, I guess, count as a kill, but it is definitely more giallo. It's like an American giallo.
Thank you. That's what I told you when I watched it, because this is the second time I've seen it. Shortly after we did the slasher show, remember I said, there's a couple movies I want to watch that made your guys' list, so I want to see, especially Dressed to Kill because it was so high. So I watched it, and I think when we came back from a break, I did it as a triple hour. I did say something. All I know is that I watched it during a month off, and I came back, and those were my words exactly. I go, to me, it seemed more like a giallo than anything, and that's fine. The only slasher part was the end sequence when you get the POV and the girls in the shower, and that there was a little bit slashery, but the rest. But still, I mean, maybe you did. I mean, you made me watch it.
I feel like, with its nods to Psycho and stuff, if people want to call it slasher, fine. But I feel like it's a nod to films that came before it and a nod to films that came after it, even, looking back on it now. And all the films that I compare it to are just slightly better films. It has a Don't Look Now, Silence of the Lambs, Psycho, type feel to it at times with certain aspects of it. And I don't know, it just...
I know, I absolutely love this movie. I love the way he films it, but this could actually be what people don't like about the film as well, because it's very melodramatic, cinematic, in the sense of if the whole thing, this movie does numerous scenes that are the whole pig's blood scene in Carrie. Yeah. Where it's like, he just plays with time. So things that would happen in a millisecond take like 10 plus seconds of screen time almost, which gets drawn out. I love that, but not everybody's going to dig it. The elevator scene to me, I think was his trying to kind of emulate Psycho's shower scene. And obviously not copying it, but that was sort of like the template, if you will. But he also apes his own Carrie sequence with that whole.
It's just a little. I don't want to say love. I really like the elevator scene. There's just something a little awkward about it, especially when what's her name? When is it
Nancy Allen?
Liz, yeah, Liz. Okay. Nancy Allen's character comes in. There's just something awkward about the way she reaches for Kate and just the time. Yeah, it's just a little. I don't know. It's really good, and I like it. It's got a very deep red aspect of it, seeing the killer's reflection in the mirror there. So it's really cool. And again, referencing a lot of movies that I love. I just feel like there were just some scenes that were a little sloppy. But I love the opening scene itself, and of course the music. Pino did a great job again. I love his music. I really do. I think it really fits every scene. He scores every moment of this film, and
it's so funny that that's one of the take. I love the music too. I could see that being another complaint with people, because it doesn't necessarily match at the beginning. You're like, are we watching a horror film at first? But then when the horror music kind of kicks in, it's definitely.
But that was what was perfect about that opening scene. That this beautiful sort of sexual fantasy transitioning into just like this ugly, quick. Wham bam thank you man type sex and the horror of it and the depth of Kate's character was I thought really really deep, and I really liked Angie Dickinson, and I get killing her off halfway into the movie, even earlier, is a shock and a nod to Psycho, but I almost wish she was still alive in the film.
No, I love that part. I do love, like, there's a lot of the foreshadowing, which I've actually come over the years. I find that this is not necessarily Brian De Palma's most subtle film. Now, maybe I'm contradicting myself because of his cinematic sort of melodrama. Maybe it doesn't necessarily allow for subtlety. Like, the straight razor, him shaving with the straight razor. I don't know, maybe back in 1980, more people shaved with a straight razor. The only time I've used a straight razor, I've never used a straight razor. Going to the barber, and they've done like the trimming around the ear and around your neck. That's the only time I've had a straight razor on me.
Yeah.
Other than when I loved it as a weapon and I put it in one of my movies because I had to use it. But where I'm going with it is him shaving with the straight razor as the foreshadowing of how she gets killed. Michael Caine's doctor character scaring himself in his reflection, catching his reflection in the mirror, saying, I love my wife and everything else, sort of showing that doppelganger. There's two sides to him. Again, really cool when you're in film school and everything. Not necessarily the most subtle way to present things after, Psycho came out 20 years earlier, and there's been, other movies in between and thereafter. So the movie hasn't aged necessarily very well, but it still works for whatever reason for me. And I think that's because I'm a De Palma fan.
That mirror scene with the mirror on the desk is really cool because it also looks like it's going to be a picture of his wife. So you think, because he's talking about, he loves his wife, he loves his family, and you think that's going to be a picture of his family, but there's no picture on his desk. It's just the reflection, like you said, which is just open to so much interpretation.
But Bobby and the killer, there's so much good shit here. The killer's voice, and I bored your straight razor and everything else. There's so many good things. The kid from Christine that we just reviewed, his performance of hooking up with the call girl, I thought was a cool little team, and how they go after it. The whole subway sequence was great with the combination of her getting attacked and the head fake with the other blonde, and you're like, wait a second, how can they be intercutting?
This bitch is bothering me.
Sorry, I'm all over here, but you get the head fake of, wait a second, if you've watched the movie and you know the twist, but you haven't watched it in a long time, and you're like, well, wait a second, they've just fucked up. Because if you know where we're going with the twist, obviously the way they've cut the movie, it wouldn't have necessarily worked until you find out that a certain detective that's been trailing her is also very reminiscent of another. So there are some good things that they've played around with here. Is it Dennis Franz?
Yeah. You know what I was thinking of? When I saw him, I was thinking of when he was in Psycho 3, or pardon me, in Psycho 2, and I was expecting him to say, "You're a psychiatrist, huh?" "Yeah." And he's like, "Your patients ended up dead, murdered by you loony."
Well, because you had that same kind of in Blowout, in Dressed to Kill, in Psycho 2. It was always kind of that rough around the edges kind of copy-esque slum hotel manager.
Before I say anything about the film, I almost just shit myself because.
Did you get another email from Watson?
No, not an email. But listen to what I did. I wanted to give props to the person that picked the movie for us. So I forgot to write it down like I always do. I usually write it down. It's right in my review. But this time I had to go to the Patreon messages. So I went to the Patreon messages. And first and foremost, it's Jonathan Newcomer. This is his first one he's ever picked for us. So thank you. But that aside, I thought that I fucked up and that we were supposed to be talking about Don't Look Now, even though we've already done Don't Look Now. But this is what I always confuse these two movies because of the title, I guess. But he asked us about, I'd like you to review, Dressed to Kill. So now I messaged him back March the 6th, a week ago now. And I said, don't know if you listened to the new show, but we read your email on the show because he was asking. And we addressed that we would be doing it now. And I said, and then I wrote, we will definitely be covering Don't Look Now on the next show, which is 99. Thank you. And then he said, awesome, looking forward to it. So now here I am, and I just open it up, and those are the last two messages I see. And I literally thought that he picked Don't Look Now. And then I'm like, wait, we've already done this. And then I'm thinking, so now we've watched a movie we're not supposed to watch and review. One of two bad things might have happened. So either way, and it's okay. I just called it Don't Look Now, and he didn't catch on to it. So maybe he confuses it because I For some reason, Dress to Kill, Don't Look Now.
Or maybe he called it Dress to Kill and it's meant to Don't Look Now.
Or maybe he just thinks you're a total asshole. Oh, thanks. You Don't Look Now, not my movie. Great. Thanks, buddy.
Fuck. Oh, I just freaking gave myself a heart attack. I thought I completely dropped the ball here.
Dude, you know what? I think it's a great ploy, killing off a main character in a film like that early in the film. But I really liked Angie Dickinson's character. I liked her interactions with Peter, that whole conversation in the room talking about how Napoleon baked for relaxation and stuff like that. I thought that was hilarious. I loved that. And didn't it sound like he was like making just a massive amount of popcorn when she walked into his room? That's all I thought.
I was going to stay up all night.
I love the computers and technology in those early movies. It's always just blinking lights. Like, what are you doing?
Well, like they go from they have this nice introduction, then they go for that whole museum sequence. I love that sequence.
It is a great sequence. Sequence.
I love when you see Bobby there watching her on the street when she takes the glove and when the camera pans by, it zooms right by Bobby, and then you're there. Like, I mean, it's pretty overt, but maybe it's overt because I've seen the movie so many times. Maybe if you watch it for the first time, you wouldn't necessarily see Bobby in that one scene. You just see the glove be taken away. But I love the scene in the car when they start fucking. The only shot I don't like, which is like it is a Brian De Palma-ism, is when he does the POV of her going, and then falling into the seat, and it's her point of view. I thought that was a little too much.
That was very Get Out. I thought she was gonna sink into the what's it called in Get Out? The sunken place.
Yeah, good job.
I almost called it the Further. I get confused with all the fucking places.
But it's so really cool. Yeah, I love the way it's shot. Just that one shot stands out as a little overkill.
No, but it's real. Again, it's very fantasy-like, contrasted with the end of the sequence at the hotel room where she discovers that he's a womanizer who's given, looks like a dozen women's names are on the list, given a dozen women VD. So it has that contrast to the opening scene, and you really feel for this character that this is a major issue for her. The passion and the sex life.
Well, she got the man, thank you, ma'am, which was great, like you said.
Yeah.
And so she wanted something more, and she got more.
I feel bad for her because
I do too. I think
that's where the misogyny comes in, because De Palma gets hit a lot, same with Hitchcock, that he was a misogynist. So she's been punished for wanting to have to explore sexual fantasy and to have some sort of romantic fling. She's been ultimately punished, first with a VD and ultimately with death.
But I got to admit, the explanation for why the killings take place in the end, it is pretty, it's pretty simple but brilliant, I think.
It's Psycho.
Well, it's Psycho, exactly. This is his Psycho more than anything. Like, I mean, he's done it a couple of times. He's aped Shakespeare, Hitchcock a few times, and this was definitely his biggest nod to Psycho.
Did you say Shakespeare?
Yeah, I was going to say Shakespeare, and then I'm like, Hitchcock. I don't know how that, but anyway.
That's it. Shakespeare double feature next show.
Nice. Even the terminology was the same, because he said when he got aroused, the other side took over. Same shit, almost word for word, that was said in the epilogue. Yeah, epilogue, not prologue. Okay, sorry. The epilogue in Psycho, same thing, and that is kind of my beef with the movie, is that a lot of it comes from other De Palma work or other Hitchcock work. However, I still think the way it's filmed is great. I love the score. The plot was good. Everything it clicked along just fine. But the only reason I can only give it such a rating that I give it is because some of it was just too damn familiar, and that's my only beef. But even the beginning, as great as it was, doesn't it just remind you of Carrie? Same type of opening.
It's
the music,
dream sequence.
Slow, that's the end. The end is the dream, which he did twice.
No, but he's got the filter look.
Okay.
That kind of is throughout the whole picture.
True, and a woman in the shower taking a shower.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's the opening of Carrie. It goes in slow, that type of music that's playing, and then seeing someone take a shower. So right off the bat, I think of Carrie. Not because of De Palma. I just think of Carrie because that's what it reminds me of. So right off the bat, I'm making a comparison, which is fine. So let me ask you, when she's masturbating in the shower, is that a dream or is that real? Because all of a sudden...
Okay, so here, this is my take on it, because some people could say like the end is just a dream, end of story. Why would you think anything different? She wakes up and nothing's wrong and everything's done. I look at it like this. I think part of the opening is reality or her fantasy in her head while she's getting wham bam, thank you ma'am, or whatever like that. But no sort of sexual like gratification. So it turns into this sort of like attack, which is a great sort of scare scene for the audience, but I think is taking her fantasy into something that like in a dark place. And then the end. So I think there's a part of it that's a dream there as well, is where I'm going with it. The end, which is a whole setup that is one big long scene that ends up being revealed as a dream. I almost take like maybe could have happened. Like maybe Bobby did escape from.
That's so weak, though. That would ever happen. Well, how is it not weak? Now, first of all, you see it play out, and that's 100% Carrie to the point of the arms coming up. Okay, so I'm okay. Now, if you're in a mental hospital like that, they're not going to send one nurse all unsecured around all those people in a situation like that, because that would happen all the time. She'd be attacked. These are loonies, because it'll happen. That will happen. So you said
it is just a dream, which is fine. That's how they present it.
Dream. Because if not, it's ridiculously stupid.
That end is a dream.
And they're all going to be cheering it on up there right above, and it's going to be 2 floors worth. They're all going to be going. They're all going to happen to be there. He's going to come up that way and do that and snap her neck that quick. All of it seemed. When I was watching it, I remembered the twist, but I didn't remember anything that happened after the end. So when that happened, I'm like, this better not be real, because you've taken a good movie and turned it into a dumb slasher reality.
And that will be the other big problem most people have, is that at the last 10 minutes is one big fucking dream.
It's a lot of After Effects stuff like Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, which it may have been better without. Then you get that explanation, which is fine. It's just like Psycho, whatever. But then when you get Nancy Allen's character at the restaurant talking to him and having that conversation and describing it, and that one lady looking over, I guess it was okay, but I mean, it was a little bit unnecessary. And then that thing at the end, but that sequence is so good at the end with her in the shower, like a slasher sequence, like I said, with a POV and coming in, that shit's good. So I like that
it's good, but it's silly to even take it seriously, because no killer would stand that close with their legs showing like that. And also, as much as I like Nancy Allen in this, and another nod to Carrie, she's on the phone with her friend Norma. Hi, Norma.
Oh, you're right, Norma.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah, but Nancy.
Norma Bates.
Hey, there we go. Another thing. Well, look. I'll defend the Psycho ending, because at least the relationship between Bobby and this other character is different from Norman and Mother. It's different enough and intriguing enough, and not developed enough as much as I would have liked.
That's true, but let me interrupt you really quick and say that I guarantee if I showed this movie to my wife, who's never seen it and has seen Psycho plenty of times, during that scene at the end, she's going to say, oh, so this is just like Psycho. I guarantee that she would say
I don't think that's a bad thing, though, to say. Like, I mean, I know you're kind of taking points, and it's kind of what I said earlier when I'm saying I'm comparing the feel of the movie to other movies that are slightly better, and yes, Psycho's one of them, but it's not necessarily a bad thing to say, oh, it's like Psycho, it's like Carrie, it's like, it has a Don't Look Now feel, it's got some, fuck, why do I keep saying that?
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying sometimes when it's too familiar, it kind of loses points for me for originality in this type of movie, when it all hinges on just that. Like in Pin. In Pin, it's more subtle. Like I said, it's a similar thing to Psycho, but it's done in a different way. It's not changing of the sex. It's a different take on it. That's what Pin is. And
Pin's
like
extremely subtle.
And like Friday the 13th is like a reverse Psycho, but it's a little bit subtle. No one watches those two movies and says, oh, that's like Psycho. Not the casual viewer, maybe us for a podcast, but I think a lot of people watching Dressed to Kill that have had their share of seeing Psycho are just going to make that general comment. Just like what I said with Hereditary being too familiar with Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, how a lot of that was beat by beat. Not a lot of people are going to catch on that, but it did me, and it actually hindered my experience just a little bit with Hereditary when I saw it. It's just like, well, this movie is so smart in every other way. I wish that they would have steered it just in a little bit of a different direction here.
I totally understand that and could totally buy it. But again, this is when cinematic experience overtakes story or narrative. And I could take familiar. I could take been there, done that if it's being presented to me in a real cool package as well. And I think there's enough that he does on his own to make it his thumbprint. And from a story structure, and again, of course, from the cinematic look, that's where I can separate it. And I'm like, no, I love this movie because of the way it's presented to me.
I agree with you. I just can't give it a 10 out of 10 because of that.
And I don't
that's all
either.
I'm saying.
I can't give it anything close to a 10 out of 10 because even though a film can look a 10 out of 10 and be presented a 10 out of 10 way, I'm a story sucker. And for me, Liz's character is nowhere near as intriguing as Kate's. Kate's dynamic, her sexual tension, the story they present with her in such a short period of time before they get rid of her, and her interactions with Dr. Elliot and where they go with the Bobby character in relation to what Kate characters represents is so much more intriguing that Liz's character really, I'm not saying you don't care about her, you care about her. She's a prostitute, but she's clearly just doing what she needs to do to survive. But it would have been so much more powerful had this showdown stuck with Kate and Bobby throughout the whole film. I just was not on board with Liz's character. So the second half of the film just completely drops off for me.
I will be objective and say that I get that because she is a more interesting character. I was on board because I'm borderline in love with Nancy Allen.
Oh, I love her. She looks fantastic, stunning. And she's great. Yeah,
she still does. She's 70 years old now, and I saw her when Carrie was reissued a couple years ago by Scream or somebody. I have it, whichever one it was. It was a new reissue of Carrie, and it had new interviews. And at the time, she's like 68 or something. I'm like, wow, this woman still looks beautiful. I mean, Nancy Allen, I just like looking at her, and I like the character. I mean, I'm not just going to be base anything on looks, but I'm saying the fact that I'm kind of in love with her, and I do sympathize with the character because she is a hooker, but she's not an idiot. She knows what she's doing, and she takes it upon herself to
buy stocks.
To buy stocks. But I mean, it's kind of like the regular guy in like an Argento Giallo, where all of a sudden he's thrust into this, the most unlikeliest of people is thrust into detective mode. You know what I mean? I like that we're following her people, and she says it a couple of times. Like she thinks, you're looking at me this way because I'm just some hooker and whatever. And you know damn well I didn't kill anybody. I mean, come on. But I'm gonna go above and beyond to save my ass. And she uses her brains. Even using her body, which of course is brilliant at the end when she goes to see the psychiatrist and she does that whole seduction thing. I mean, that's what you would do. And then you see, my God. I mean, it was even hard for him to turn it down, and he kept saying, "Now, do you think he's actually married, or this is a facade?"
A facade, I think.
Without a doubt, no family.
Yeah.
No
but if he's such a loony, why would his psychiatrist allow him to be free? So obviously, the loony part of it has only sort of escalated or started as a sexual frustration.
He's broken. He's sort of split at this point.
So
I think it should have opened with another murder. I think it should have opened with another murder instead of necessarily jumping right into Angie Dickinson's shower sequence. Personally, I think it would have benefited from that opening hook, then into that sequence to introduce her. I think that may have been a better sell. But
I agree. No, I agree with you. And let me ask you a question. Who would be given notification that they have VD by mail? I realize this is 1980, but if you got VD, isn't that something you should jump right on? Wouldn't the doctor call you and say, hey, this is the clinic. You have herpes. Let's get on it. Or, you know what I mean?
Man. You got to lay your brain
and that was also... That was also like where he listed all the women he'd been with so they can contact. So it looked like it was like maybe like a copy of a sheet he provided to.
Didn't have privacy.
No, but
yeah.
did you see it? It was said you have a venereal disease with an exclamation point next to it. It was a notification.
Yeah, but it also had the names of all the women on there, so it was like a response thing. I didn't buy much into it, but yeah, I don't know. Like as much as I like Nancy Allen, I feel like it's probably an easier comparison. Bobby's, torment versus, Liz's just sort of casual nature towards sex. But I feel like the struggle of Kate's sexual fantasies and stuff versus Bobby's desires would have played out in a much richer, deeper way.
Because it ended up being nothing. It ended up, her character could have just been Laurie Strode. Well, not Laurie Strode because she's pure. Just it could have been anybody. The fact that she's repressed sexually and all that stuff really didn't have anything to do with anything else that happened to her. She could have been going to the psychiatrist to quit smoking, or because her husband cheated.
Exactly.
The only thing it tied into, honestly, is why she wanted affection or attention so bad from that stranger at the museum and hopped into bed with him so quick. So I guess that's kind of her motivation, but whatever. She could have found out that he was cheating by a phone call or something and said, well, fuck him. I'm going to go cheat with the first good-looking guy I see, too. So all that stuff didn't have to necessarily be there. It looks like it would be, but then again, maybe that's the brilliance of the Switch. Maybe he's luring us in saying, this is your main character. She has all this going on. We're going to give you a character arc. This is who you're going to focus on. And then, I'm going to give you the fucking psycho switch. You know what I mean? And kill her off. Maybe he wanted you to love her so much so you never would have thought that when she did get killed.
Absolutely. That's it.
Make her deep.
But you're kind of like, what are you doing? Why are you going with that guy and whatever? But you've understood it based on the quick setup. Like they don't really give any backstory to the guy she's with. Like he's shaving.
Right, nothing.
He pumps her, goes turns over, and it picks up the kid at the police station and kind of walks out.
Yeah, it's
like Marion Crane.
Her. It's 100% her.
It's her, but that's what's good. Like Marion Crane was we cared about her character, and she had all this baggage, literally and figuratively. We had Marion Crane, and then after she gets killed, anybody else that comes in the picture, guess what? We don't care. I mean, you know what I mean? Then we're following Norman. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, but there was already an established relationship though between Kate and Dr. Robert, and there's sort of like there's tension there, and then learning about Bobby and Bobby's story. There's too much similarities that I feel like could have been explored, and too many themes that were rich that could have been played out. Not that they weren't played out okay with Liz's character. It just seemed like the easy way out to go with. Oh, well, we're just gonna have a character who's a prostitute who's having sex willy-nilly and is a beautiful woman, and whereas Angie Dickinson is a beautiful woman, but she's almost like she doesn't realize it because she's so like frustrated. She doesn't feel like she's getting the attention as she wants. Just feels like she's being treated almost like a piece of meat.
I don't know. I know what you're saying. I don't think I didn't have a problem with it. I have like my little issues are just like the little cinematic ones that I've made mention of. There's another one. She takes off her glove to showcase her ring, right? The guy sees the ring, takes off, and then she looks down and was like, "Oh no!" Well, wasn't that what you're trying to do? Like, oh, you're not really interested in me, or you're being a jerk. I'm gonna play around with you a little bit. I'm gonna take my glove off to show my ring and show that I'm married.
No, she didn't do that.
Hold on.
She didn't do that.
She dropped the glove.
Exactly.
Yes, maybe it happened to be the ring, and I don't know if that was meant to be, but her whole thing was, I'm going to drop the glove and walk away and see if he picks it up and tries to bring it over to me because I want to make, I want to talk to this guy. And
okay, you're right. But I thought they made her hand moves like she was almost positioning her ring there, but you're right. It was that the glove fell.
It was her recognizing, oh shit, he saw my ring. Maybe he's turned off by that, or he's not going to make him move because of that.
I know that's what happened. I just said, well, I almost thought that she was wanting to make him jealous, but now I realize, I read it wrong. It's what you guys said, that she was dropping the glove to have him hopefully pick it up and say, hey, you dropped this to engage in conversation.
Right. Now here's the issue. Here's what I don't understand. how come later on when he puts her glove on and he finally does make contact with her, puts his hand on her shoulder, she turns around and she balks and she goes away. And I'm thinking, well, how did you not know that was your glove? You looked right at the fucking thing. And then you walked away and then she's like, oh, I made a mistake. That was the guy with the glove. Why did I run away like that?
That's it. It's almost perfect, except there's like those weirdness. Like the fact that he's wearing the glove is weird, first off.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
I think he could have just grabbed her, but I guess he was cinematically trying to tell so much without saying any words whatsoever, no dialogue exchange whatsoever. And then so he grabs her. I think she was freaked out by someone grabbing her. And then stormed off, and then he was like, "Hey, what the hell?" And then she remembers that. Oh wait, that was the glove. That was my glove. And then
it just seemed weird. Like,
yeah,
how would you not know
it was weird. I had the exact same reaction the last 2 times I've watched this movie. I was like, that's a little odd.
And how come that woman screamed? The cleaning lady in the apartment complex.
Because Nancy Allen is standing there with a switchblade, and it's a very weird.
But that doesn't mean anything. I could be standing here with a switchblade. You wouldn't scream.
Oh,
if he didn't see the murder,
I didn't know you.
It's just closing. I think she saw it, and Nancy's standing there, and then the scream came.
Well, there's nothing to scream about.
But that butt's the fucking thing.
She can't see it. The way the shot was filmed, the door was already closed. So if this woman's looking, all she's gonna see is Nancy Allen standing there, looking in the direction of the elevator with a switchblade. She doesn't see a murder. She doesn't see blood. She sees nothing. I don't like the way that was shot. She should have at least maybe screamed while the person's arm fell out and there was blood coming out, and then there's a reason to scream. She literally just screams because Nancy Allen's standing there with a switchblade. Like, come on.
That's a nitpick in my opinion. I no big issue with that.
It's not an issue.
I agree with Dave. I think the whole elevator sequence is very clunky.
A little bit just because of that. I just find it funny, just like that woman in Halloween 2 who gets fucking Octavia Spencer, who screams a minute later. It's out of place. It doesn't make sense, but that's why it's funny. I find humor in it. In this movie, I'm just like, I wish that she would have seen more to elicit that type of reaction. That's all I was getting at. But
I would have also liked in the end for the reveal to be a little bit better. They get the actual name of the last client, this Chris Clemens. Great job by using a name like Chris. Can go either way, male or female. And they should have showed up at Chris Clemens' place. And it should have been a reveal then and there. And that's where the showdown should have taken place. It was too quick.
I thought Chris Clemens was going to be the psychiatrist's name because I didn't know what his name was. Because that would have kind of made a little bit of sense. Because I'm like, why would it say this, Chris Clemens? I'm like, oh, maybe that's the psychiatrist that he sees, you know?
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you, Brandon. And maybe I've just watched this movie so much that I was just there for the cinematic ride. I was trying to watch it, with fresh eyes for the podcast. But I could see that wanting a bigger finish or a bigger lead into the finish.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't Ted be an official witness? If this really happened in real life, he would be able to be talked to by police. If they know that she's saying that this man saw a murder, saw a dead body and ran off, doesn't that kind of give detectives a right to contact Ted and say, hey, we'd like you to come in and talk about what you saw at that elevator?
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe they tried to find Ted but couldn't find him.
I don't know. They didn't act like they did. They wanted Nancy to do it. They're like,
no,
okay,
I know. I know. I agree. I'm not.
That's all. Okay, and why? This is just funny. How come what's his name had his own shit labeled? His tape recorder. It said it was like he had one of those machines, kind of like what's his name did in Nightmare on Elm Street. Remember, it said Glenn on his headset in his room.
Man, you guys don't watch Brian De Palma movies a lot, then. This is a Brian De Palma, like he does this over and over again. That's a Brian De Palmaism, I think.
Isn't that funny though? He had his own tape recorder labeled record mic with a fucking. It's his own thing. Why would he? Like he's a dummy. Oh, it's
because
so
that's for us, the viewer, the audience. That he does it, and De Palma's cinematically trying to tell us because he thinks we're not we're idiots, but the general public are. Which, in the light of what's happening right now, 30 years later, 40 years later, we are idiots.
I just think it's funny
in this day and age.
I just think
it's fucking toilet paper.
Yeah, this is true. It's ridiculous. How about that guy Cleveland? Did you guys realize who it was? Fucking
yeah, Christmas Eve. I texted you.
Yeah, You did?
Did you see my text? I said Christmas Evil,
No.
and then 2 seconds later, Jeff from fucking Friday
Jeff?
2 is in it.
I didn't get that text. Those are my notes here, though. When did you text me that?
Like when I watched the movie, 5 days ago?
Oh, I somehow didn't even see it. I must have been at the hotel because of work and not even looking.
I said Christmas
at that.
Evil's
Okay,
in this.
because those
then...
were my text notes. Yep. Christmas Evil, and a minute later, Jeff from Part 2. Amazing. Yeah, and you know, of course, I got to throw in that's Fiona Apple's father. not Ted from Part 2. Christmas Evil.
Not Ted from Part 2.
So yeah, I'm interested in seeing where you guys come, because you guys are definitely like shit on like I agree with a few things you guys have said. It hasn't really overall tainted my overall experience with the film, but I'm really interested in hearing where you come in or not. Can you hear me, Brandon?
Oh, I hear you. Yeah.
Okay. He's busy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Sorry, I got to deal with nonsense as usual. Everything's fine now. So where were we?
No, I just was interested in finding out where you guys were rating it.
Final thoughts.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, kind of. I'll tell you one thing. I really liked the split screen shot with when they were watching the TV show about the transvestites or the transsexuals. Pardon me. The way that was filmed, all the stuff was shot really good. From a technical standpoint, the story was fine. Everything was good. The nitpicks I have are just small things. You know what I mean? It's not hurting the movie that badly. It's the same rating I gave it the last time, the first time I saw it. For me, it's 8 out of 10.
Yeah, well, and I didn't change my rating either from the slasher show, which is 9 out of 10.
Nice.
No, this was first time watching it in a long time, and I don't know, I just had a lot of issues with it. I saw a better movie in there, and I just felt like once a main kill happens very early in the film, it just kind of drags from that point on, and I wasn't as engaged as I remember being in the past. I'm at a 7 out of 10.
Oh wow,
yeah.
7.
Yeah, and it's not that early in the film. I think it's a good 35, 40 minutes in.
Yeah. I feel like this switcheroo kind of hurt it. Not because Nancy Allen was bad, and just because they really established a lot with Angie Dickinson's character, where it should have played out with her.
Fair enough. I think I'm okay with the way I said they did it for a reason, but I could see that you could feel that way just as well. So cool. A 7, an 8, and a 9. Interesting.
Do you notice when she gave Peter more Coca-Cola, she picked up the glass and it was full?
What?
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, she's like, "You want more Coke?" He's like, "Yeah." She picked up the glass and it was full of Coke, and then she poured, and it was still full of Coke.
Oh, jeez. I just feel bad.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, see.
I just said I brought this up in another episode one time that they used a body double for Angie Dickinson in the shower. Because she was older, so they used a body double, and there was a lot of critical backlash. So Brian De Palma, after he did Blowout, which was his next film, he did he titled his next movie Body Double.
Oh, wow.
As a response. Yeah.
That's why, huh? That's pretty cool. Wow. Body Double. What year did that come out? Is it 85?
82.
82. Okay. All 82.
Right. 84. Sorry, 84. I apologize.
84. See, that makes sense to me. Because I always associate the movies Body Double and FX. And I'm going to guess that the movie FX also came out in 84 or 85. Don't know for sure. But this goes back to a day that I'll never forget. And I don't know why, but I guess I do know why, because it was very unusual. I went to Rite Aid back in the days when they were running VHSs. And I waited all day long for someone to return A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, even though I never saw Part 1, because I really wanted to see Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. And I went to this Rite Aid, and I hung out there all day long, and I was playing a Commodore that they had on display and this and that. But the posters I remember seeing in that store in the movie section were Body Double and FX. And I always associate those two movies with that particular day and me waiting for someone to return a VHS of Nightmare 2. Very strange, but it's just a day I remember.
Funny memory.
Yeah, it was an interesting day. Yeah, I was so excited. Hilarious, Jerry. But here, this is the thing. I could you imagine having a dream, and in the dream you're masturbating? How pathetic would that be? I mean, I masturbate now. That in itself, when I dream about having sex. I don't dream about masturbating. Imagine if that's your dream. In the dream, you're actually masturbating. That'd be sad.
Well, it also became sort of a rape fantasy, almost like being attacked.
Yeah. Maybe that's why she hooked up with that guy that way. It was kind of quick, and she was like, yeah, she went with it.
And it looks like they had the same guy play that part, too, the one who grabs her in the shower. I'm not sure if it is, but it really looked like him from the hair.
Wasn't it always weird that back in the day, the old 80s box art for that was not the one that you usually see now, but it was literally like those El Cheapo boxes, the ones that would snap together, the VHS, was her being grabbed from behind in the shower. And it's such a weird, because then when it opens with the shower, you're kind of like, well, she's going to get grabbed in here? She does. So it's kind of just a weird still from the movie. I much prefer the one with seeing the leg and being sort of stockinged in the forefront.
There needs to be more stubble on the leg.
Awesome.
Maybe a football cleat on there.
I'm trying to picture this VHS box that you're talking about. What do they look like? It's like a flap thing that opens up on the top, and it has like a...
No, the regular boxes. They're the ones that snapped together. You'd open them up, they'd be plastic, and then they'd snap together. How do you not know this? It's like every video box pretty much that was made.
I know what you're talking about. They're a hard plastic one.
Yeah.
Okay. Instead of coming in those clear plastic sleeves with the one pushed up in it, it was actually the art was superimposed on the box itself, the hard box.
Or it would just be there'd be like a little almost like a duotang from school that you'd be able to slip the artwork in, and it's snapped like a book.
What?
And you just
go a duotang, you said?
Yeah. Do you not know what that is either?
What is a duotang?
Fucking asshole Americans.
Hey,
duotang? It sounds like a friggin' I don't know.
You know how distracted the kids would get in America if you said, "Guys, let's do a tang."
It reminds you of like a chocolate
and
orange.
You both more than Watson right now.
A duotang. I gotta look that up.
Is that in the orangutan family?
Oh, that's great.
I can't believe maybe I'm over-exploiting it. It's a fucking video box that is like in every fucking video.
I know what it is. You open it up and you slip the artwork in, and then you slip it. It's like a clam, like a shell.
That's what I said. A clear plastic one that you put the case in.
Yeah.
But that's not what he's saying. He said
there's sometimes they were white, sometimes they were black, sometimes
How can they be white?
They're really clear.
I think we're thinking about two different things. Brandon and I are talking about the sleeve. You would get it would be a clear plastic, like a fat sleeve, about the size of a VHS, and then the box art with the videotape. Are you
talking about like this?
That's what he's talking about, superimposed onto it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, superimposed. That's what I said. A plastic one.
Well, I don't know if this is superimposed.
I love that movie.
Well, whatever. At that time, it was superimposed. A lot of them, they were actually like the picture was on the hard plastic. Not that type. That's a Disney one. That's a clamshell. But there were the regular smaller ones that were like, you know.
Yeah, I'm looking.
At the Warner Brothers, right? Yep.
That was the original one that I would always see in the video store.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Exorcist had the same one, but different colors.
You have to get the picture on video to see this, or wait till the YouTube comes out.
There you have it for now. For the YouTubes. Okay, let's take a quick break. Come back. We'll get into some BS and one more movie, and that'll be that. So
sounds good.
Be back, on the flips. Show 99. That means show 100 is next, and tiebreakers are on the way. The final episode, the final submission for the top 100 list that we're waiting on is going to break up the ties that you have. You said you had 3 ties, right?
Yeah, we had a 3-way tie for the 95th spot. So 95, 96, and 97 all had the same votes, same number of votes, which didn't really. Which if anything, that's where you would expect it, because it's kind of like,
They're low.
like 400 votes, so they all were like
true.
400.
Okay. Yeah.
But we also had a tie for, I believe, 9th and 10th, or 10th and 11th. So that I want broken.
What about the difference between 1, 2, and 3?
The difference between 2 and 3 is about 18 points. In fact, I was shocked, because I originally in my mind tallying these votes thought I knew what number 1 and number 2 were clearly, and then a new number 2 snuck in.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I have a feeling that might change with the next one. Who knows? I mean, it's only 18 votes. It could change. I'm saying.
It could change. Number 1 is solidified, though.
Number 1 is solidified. Nice.
Number 1's like 230 points ahead of second.
Still pretty close, considering. That's good.
It is. When you think 27, 28 lists, that's it's only like 15 points a list here and there, which isn't a lot.
Yeah. That's
but like
cool,
I was telling Christian earlier, right before you got on, I have our top 100 tallied with just our 3 things, so I'll read like our top 10 also, because our top 10 is pretty different than the top 10 of everyone's list.
I can't say I'm surprised.
Yeah.
But then again, you could take...
list.
Yeah, it is.
I was actually surprised at what was number 1 on our list. But you got to think, it's not necessarily like, oh, the film we all love. It's like, where did we place it in our list? So it was different, because there's a lot of films that we love, but I think you're going to be surprised what was number 1 on our list.
Wow, I'm not saying nothing. Maybe that day I'll...
Yeah, I think maybe I'll have you guys guess on that, because it's pretty fun. It was fun to do. I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a really fun show, and we'll read everyone's number 1s, all 27 people, and
we're guessing what our number 1 was between the 3 of us?
No.
Or overall?
Oh, overall, our 3, the cumulative one that we made.
The cumulative. I'd like to hear what you guys think are like the number 1 film is, like, when we get to the show, because when I saw it, because my brother did it for me, did the list, and when I saw it, it's like, that's our number 1? I'm like, I knew I had it high on my list. I knew you guys loved the film and had it, fairly high on yours. But, I just know there's films that we all rave more than that. But yet, we all had this one in the highest positions to squeak out number 1.
Should be interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
So that's next show, 100. Can't wait, man.
That's gonna be a fun show. And I was telling Christian too, just before you got back here, that one of the downsides to you guys being like in the dark about the list is I wanted to see that you guys had seen most of the films, and I told him I had seen 99 of the 100 films that made the final list. Of course, it's subject to change because we still got one more list, but I had seen 99 of 100, and I recently watched the 100th film because I had put it off only because one person didn't like it, and turns out I really liked it. So
can you revamp your list? Would you have made your list if you really liked it?
I don't know if it would have made my 100. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I gave it so it's right on that like border, like it could have been on that cusp. It could have been anywhere from number 80 to number like probably like 200. Well,
like the movie we're going to discuss very shortly, I actually said this possibly could have made it because it was right on that cusp. It would have been on that cusp.
Yeah,
for me.
I think this.
And I hadn't seen it before, so it's not going to be in it. But I think it could have had an opportunity to play for a spot.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow. Cool. Well, what was I going to say? We have the other email pertaining to the episode 100.
Let's get into it then.
That's the one you sent me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this one's from our boy John Rhodes, and it says, Dave, you may want to pre-read this or just let Grimsby take this one. Fuck, this is a long one. I haven't read this much. I haven't read it in a while.
Well, hey, look at the one I read from Watson. It can't be
that's true. That was an SC even. Gentlemen, sorry, what was I thinking? Fuckers, what's up? It's John Spooky Rhodes, and I just wanted to drop you an email for your monumental 100th episode. Holy shit, congratulations, guys. That's fucking awesome. You all should truly be proud of this and everything you've been able to accomplish with Dave steering this show. No, I think that's
he is our skipper.
No, I think that's genuine, but it sounded funny when I read it, like almost like fuck you, Christian. But
no, he's saying that I'm a hindrance. Dave's steering the show. Be proud of what you've accomplished with that. You know what he's saying? With him fucking steering the show.
That's funny.
It's funny. I took it the way Brandon was saying it, but you're absolutely right.
I didn't. I don't know. I read it in a funny way where I feel like I was like Dave's steering the show. Punchline. Pause for laughter, but. I love the concept for this episode. I was deeply honored to be asked to partake. However, sadly, life kind of got in the way. I know I've talked a little to Dave about this, but things have been a growing shitstorm for me lately. I just got married this past October.
Yeah, that sucks.
I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry, John. I shouldn't have paused right there. That's like in the middle of a sentence, but that was funny. I just got married this past October, and besides now wondering every night if this will be the night she finally kills me for my insurance, we've been dealing with my new stepmother's untreatable cancer. Sorry to hear about that.
God.
Yeah, no, this is. I didn't pre-read this. I should have pre-read this. She has been in and out of the hospital numerous times, and we've been told twice now that this was the end for her. I mean, fortunately, that has not been the case yet. On top of all that, I work at a state-run mental hospital and am now under 2 different investigations. I know, impressive, right? The latest one also involves the state police investigating me. And no, Brandon, it's nothing sexual. Sorry to disappoint you. I work with Michael Myers type guys and may have broken one of them in a fight. So like I said, things have been a consistent growing shitstorm for me. Plus, I am a perfectionist, sometimes to a fault, and I just couldn't bring myself to half-ass a list like Christian. He's probably got some bullshit like Goosebumps as his number 1.
I hope you're sentenced to life.
I hope Michael comes back with the blackest of eyes and kills
Maybe if you didn't rape the girl so they'd escape, you'd be fine.
Okay. Nonetheless, and all joking aside, I wanted to take a moment to thank you all. I was a little late to Exploding Heads, but I absolutely love the show. You guys have been with me through numerous lawn mowings, commutes to work, and more important things like driving to meet my wife in Pittsburgh after she got flown down with her mother, and even my wedding day. You have helped me get through some very rough times, and I'm deeply appreciative for that. Exploding Heads is one of the 2 podcasts that I do not miss. What's the other? Don't say Watsy. Don't say Watsy. Don't say Watsy.
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say it's T-Butts. I'm gonna say it's Podcast Under the Stairs. Duncan.
I love how you abbreviate everything. T-Butts.
Everybody calls it T-Butts. That's what it's called. It's funny when people started calling it T-Butts. They were talking about it on back in the day when it was in its infancy. And Devour the Podcast was still around. One of Jamie's original shows with Bo and Dave. They were talking one day and they were talking about teapots. And I legitimately thought that there was a new podcast, a new horror podcast, and the title of it was Teapots. And I didn't understand. I go, why would you call a horror podcast Teapots? But anyway,
it means get the kettle on and listen to this great show,
or take the kettle off, like Jason in Part 2. You know when he moved the kettle. I love that part.
Oh, man. Okay.
One of 2 podcasts. That's where you left off.
And I was joking. I hope you get off scot-free.
Oh.
I hope scot-free.
Scot paper-free.
Scot-free got off a long time ago. We want John Rhodes to get off, not scot-free.
Scott, a.k.a. Chris.
I'm still working my way through the episodes, but I've almost got them all. Dave, thank you for being a friend and bringing this show into our lives. Brandon, thank you for being the voice of reason amongst the others and always being able to crack a joke. They might not all land, but you always try. Lastly, Christian, and it just ends there. No, I'm just kidding. Lastly, Christian, thank you for, nothing. That's what he wrote. I didn't even realize it.
Life it is. I like Watson better than you.
I'm only joking. It says, Christian, thank you for everything that you do in creating this amazing show, not only on air, but as the producer. I know there's a lot that goes into that, and you deserve a lot of thanks for that. We all agree.
Yes.
Lastly, this is the last paragraph.
I'm on the cusp.
You're on the cusp. We might trade you to teapots.
Perfect. Watson can come in. We'll just be the new Watsy party. Brandon could be like the third wheel.
I want to open a miniature golf place and call it Teapots. Hey, you guys want to go play putt-putt? Where? Teapots. Lastly, if any of you rotten corpse fucking bastards out there listening to this aren't supporting these guys on Patreon, what the fuck is wrong with you? Mm-hmm. I've been podcasting for 7+ years now, and these guys are well worth the money, you cheap fucks.
Take everything back.
If you're still too cheap, well, then you get stuck with shit like my shows. Which, yes, Dave, my new show is eventually coming, just like Brandon, but not Dave or Christian. I'm married now and know what it's like. But I need things to calm down a little so I can get my wad on and prep that shit. Uh-oh.
Not as what? See
Well, that, and I've had the flu lately and sound like I've been throat fucked by the thorny cock of Pazuzu for 2 months straight.
With who? You left through that whole thing.
The thorny cock of Pazuzu. I couldn't. How can you read it? It literally says the thorny cock of Pazuzu for 2 straight months.
Nice.
If not for that, I would have sent you a nice audio clip up to Christian standard and not Dave's. We all remember that time you edited 5 seconds of audio and almost got a divorce over it.
That's right.
So with all that being said, thank you again for inviting me to partake on this monumental episode, and thank you all for everything you do for us, the listeners. Your friend, John Spooky Rhodes. John's awesome. Thank you, John, for all the kind words, and, you know, hopefully, I mean, obviously we know things aren't well, but, you know, thoughts and prayers with you and your wife, and, you know.
And mother-in-law.
Yeah, tough thing to go through. Unfortunately, a lot of us know.
Yeah.
Well, hey, talk about a 1-2 punch. First marriage, and then the cancer.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of people would say, "What's the difference?"
You got the big C? Yeah, I married a fat cunt.
The big FC. Wow.
Anyway, no, thank you. All joking aside, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, really taking the time out of your day.
Evidently, Brandon and I can't take it when we're made fun of, though.
Oh no, not these guys.
Brandon won't say anything now. He's like,
"You will not get me to say a bad word about Watson." I love Watson. I really hope I like, even though you read in that email, like, you know, I'm being totally serious right now. I still don't think he was being serious. I still feel like that email was part of the joke.
And I hope it is, because
I hope so too.
Because this is part of the joke. What my sentence right now is an extension of that ongoing joke of him not, like I always say, he comes on the show. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? I pretend that I'm being serious.
I was waiting for the punchline, man. He was so diced there. I was waiting for what the fuck he did. What was it? You sent us the clip of him asking Billy Joel to sing whose songs? Someone else's songs.
That's not me.
Fred Durst?
You didn't watch it? It's like, you know.
I watched it.
You know, anyway.
It was Andrew Dice Clay backstage with Billy Joel.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Asking Billy Joel to play this song and that song. He's like, that's
Neil
not
Diamond.
Me.
Oh, Barry Manilow.
Barry Manilow. That was it.
Yeah.
Goes, yeah, but like maybe just for tonight.
Yeah. Tonight? Yeah, that was good. Just the way we was, he said. Remember? Yeah, just the way we was. Now, question is this: if John Rhodes was to come on the show, would you be nice to him?
For a bit. Sounds like you could take a joke. Yeah.
All right, John. Well, maybe we'll have to get him on.
Don't we? I feel like we do a good job of roasting everyone. I know Lacey pointed out that we were pretty nice to Jamie, and that's just because, honestly, like, I was scared. I don't know why I was scared. I didn't want to roast Jamie too hard.
Oh,
next time she's on, she'll be skewered.
Yeah.
She can take it.
Yeah.
Believe me, and dish it out, just like all these people, honestly, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so thank you again, John. That I'm glad you know. I'm sad to hear about those things. I mean, I knew a little bit about it, but hopefully things get better soon.
The marriage.
Well, the marriage is the marriage. We're all in it, you know. Yeah. we do what we do. We do what we can. How's that? And Yeah.
Just take comfort in knowing cancer and marriage eventually both of them end.
Maybe not always with death.
Hopefully positively.
Right. Maybe it might not be till death do you part. I don't know. It's tough. In one case, it's a good thing. In the other case, it's not such a good thing. But whatever.
It's crazy though, because it's different for each and every one. So it's like talking. Who knows, right? Because people have beaten cancer, and then some have been given like a 2-month life sentence and lived years. Because we're going through it as well. Not like with in-laws on our side. So
that sucks.
I can hear it too, but it's you never know, right? Because like I'm stumbling over my own words now. But ultimately, it's different for everybody, like I said.
Yep, and we recently had a victory in our family, so good for us. We're happy.
Yeah, amen to that. Yes. Yeah, that's wonderful. That's great stuff. Oh, yeah, and John, I keep forgetting to mention that you have the same middle name as my cat. So
Lucky?
No. This one right over here. You know who this is?
That's
over
Spooky.
Here. Yeah, that's Ginny. Yep. Ginny's middle name is Spooky. Yeah. Speaking, there she is, little Miss Spooky. Yeah, there she is. Oh, she went back to bed, my little girl.
That's just one cat?
Hey, she's not even big. Matter of fact, she's a pygmy cat. She's the smallest cat in the house, just about. Like Lucky's just about. Yeah, he's definitely gonna be bigger than her.
Pygmy? No thanks. I'll pick someone else.
And I always sing that song to her. Love is kind of crazy with a spooky little girl like you. Yeah,
You ever sing
Spooky.
Just the Way We Was?
Yeah, just the way we was.
Just the way we was.
Awesome. Oh, Lordy.
Look, you'll get to love Clay.
You do have to love Clay. He is awesome. You gonna shame anybody? B? You good?
Yeah, I genuinely don't have anyone to shame.
Damn it, I'm gonna bring something up, and it's probably gonna shame me. And this will be the last thing I talk about before we go into the review. But this has been stuck in this has been bothering me for a long time, and it really hit home a few months ago again because it was that time of year again. And I know I'm going to be in the minority here because what I'm going to say has to do with all the podcasts I listen to and all the people I talk to or used to talk to on active social media platforms. Why are people so desperate to have horror people and horror roles in movies recognized at the Oscars? Why is that so fucking important? Why are the Oscars such a big deal to you that I'm still hearing it to this day? It's fucking been over 2 years. I literally heard on a podcast just the other day, what's her name in Hereditary should have been up for Actress of the Year. I'm sorry I dropped the ball. I know
Toni Collette.
Toni Collette. I am so fucking sick of 99% of all podcasts saying that. Again, maybe I'm coming out like the bad guy, but this is my opinion. Why do you people care so much about being recognized by them?
I guess it stems from being the mainstream, and horror always gets like the redheaded stepchild. It gets shit on. It's considered kind of trash, and I think really at the end of the day, just like every genre, there's shit, but then there's fantastic films. And I think, although a lot of us don't give a shit, I think by being recognized by the Academy Awards, it kind of brings some legitimacy to saying like, hey, you know what? It's not all like fucking escort service.
I get that.
Or whatever. And again, I think we all know this. Some people put a little bit more the Oscars or the I guess they put that on a pedestal, whereas I don't think any of us really care all that much.
I've watched the Oscars. I watched the Oscars for the longest time. I watched a lot of the Best Picture films. In fact, I've seen all the Best Picture winner films, and I've seen 95% of all the films ever nominated for Best Picture going back to 1929. So I enjoy it, but like you said, I really don't give a shit. Like, they get it wrong even amongst non-horror films a lot of the times.
Well, sure.
But like Christian says, horror has just been neglected. It just is.
I know that.
But I understand why people get upset. They just want some recognition for it, but these people don't care. They're making good money. They're making movies. They're doing what they love. And
listen, I get all that. Once upon a time, I would have been waving the flag.
Hollywood?
Hey, I'm over here. I'm over here. I'm a horror fan. Horror movies are not what you think they are. Recognize us for the talent that we have. This, that, the other thing. I also think that this always happens every year. People get disappointed and surprised, which makes no sense. How do you not know by now that we're going to be slighted? Oh, the things came out yesterday. The nominations came out yesterday. I can't believe such and such isn't on it. And I say, how can you not believe it? You know what they say about insanity, being repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. How is that unbelievable to you? That's like when what's his name died last week. Rest in peace. I love the guy, Max von Sydow. And people are saying, I think we've discussed this before. It's a sad and tragic thing. Sad face, this, that, the other fucking thing. The guy lived fucking 90 years. You're acting like the people are going to have those end of the year shows. Oh, 2020, what a terrible year. We lost Max von Sydow. No fucking shit, we lost them. They were old. They're going to die.
I think it just
every
gives
year sucks.
Sorry, and I agree with you. I think the reality is there's a couple of things at play here. Everybody needs to feel like they've got a voice, so they have to post something. And so why not cry about being neglected at the Oscars to get some sort of attention or to put a post out there? There's always it always seems like a race. Watch when somebody fucking dies.
Oh boy.
How fast, how quickly people need to post that on every fucking page.
Yep.
It's actually kind of amusing. Unfortunately, right. It's kind of sad because it's about death, but it's amusing.
It's really more about attention. It's really more about attention.
Yeah, I think that's it.
See, I would do it for a business. Like if we had an official website, Exploding Heads, and if I could find any reason to put out there, I'm saying if I could find any breaking news to put out there, and it's going to say Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast is the website. It's going to say Max von Sydow passes away at age 9. I would, and I know it sounds shitty, but it's another way to get some type of advertisement out there, and someone see that thing and then say that's who it came from. They never saw before, or they were the first person I saw, and maybe it got shared. So for the sake of building a brand or something like that, I could see it. Maybe it's a little shady and shitty. Maybe it is. But just to be average Joe doing it to get attention, whatever. Everybody's different. I'm past that now. Maybe once upon a time, I could have thought that.
I'm guilty of posting. We all post shit. Like I posted. My wife sent me when I was on away for 2 days, like you were on business. My wife sent me something about the A Quiet Place 2, being delayed, like so many other movies now. And I'm like, oh shit, she sent me the tweet. And I'm like, I took a screenshot and I posted it on our page. Like, I mean, I wasn't like trying to race it. It was already news for like hours, but I was just like, oh, that kind of sucks. But I kind of thought it was relevant because it was a great film. I was actually really looking forward to the sequel. So I think that could be a little bit different. But going back to what you're saying, I mean, that's social media. We post shit because that's what it's all about. But there's a difference when it comes to this. It's almost like attention or wanting to circle back and have that same argument again. Why do we constantly get neglected?
But see, we're acting like we need them and we fucking don't. I think it makes us look worse. Look, here's an analogy. Pretend horror fans are at one table in the high school lunchroom. Here we are. We're all together. We're lucky we have each other. We love horror. We love all different types of horror. And we at that table know that Toni Collette was great in Hereditary, and we know that there was an amazing score in fucking Black Coat's Daughter, whatever. We know this, that there are, aesthetics in these horror films, and I hate to use the term. Actually, I don't hate to use the term because it helps you describe. There's elevated horror movies. Okay, another thing, I don't hate it because it helps. It's like torture porn. Do I hate the term? No, but I like that it exists because when you're talking to me, now I know what you're talking about. It's a separation. But anyway, an elevated horror film. We know that the intellectual horror films exist. We know this. And that's all I need people to know. We've tried for years in the past to get people to realize that horror may not be what you think it is. But you're not going to change people overnight, and you're not going to change them to all of a sudden become horror fans. I could show my mother Midsommar. Actually, I wouldn't because of the sex scene or whatever, or even Hereditary. It wouldn't go with them. There's too much horror stuff still. Could they look at it and say, oh yeah, well, that is very well made, but it's too horrific. It's not my cup of tea. It's not really going to change anything. So picture us all at a table in a lunchroom, the lunchroom of life, of media lovers, whatever. Here's the horror fan sitting at this table. Then you got the popular kids over here at this lunch table. And we so desperately want the popular kids to notice us, or we want to go and sit at that table with the football players and shit like that. That's who they are. So we're saying when we do something good, we are still mentally at that place like, hey, guys, look, we did something cool. Can you be friends with us now? That is what it's like trying to butter up to the Oscars.
There's a certain part of a group that are like that, man. There are a certain part of a group that are like, hey, come on, we did something here. Fucking acknowledge us. And then there's other ones that like don't ever want that to happen because they're the other extreme that I also dislike, that are like, oh, I don't like that anymore because it's popular. Like a certain metal band or a punk band or something that then broke through and suddenly it's shit because they sold out because it became popular. That's the other extreme that I hate. Like I hate that film because it became popular.
Yeah, but people hate the Oscars and are still complaining that their horror films aren't getting Oscar nominations. So they're on both ends. Saying, I don't like the Oscars, it's just mainstream Hollywood. Why didn't this get nominated? And I feel like some of the films are starting to get a little bit of attention from the Academy. Not that it matters. I mean, even in the opening number this year, they did a tribute to the movies this year, and I saw an Us tribute, and I saw a Midsommar tribute. Florence Pugh got nominated for Little Women, which, I mean, it got some praise, but her performance definitely got piggybacked off of Midsommar without a doubt. You know, she had a really good year, and now she's going to be in the new Black Widow movie, so her career's really, I mean, she's had a career, but she's really starting to get big roles now. And you know, the Lighthouse got a nomination, you know,
and it should. Yeah. They should, but it's not going to break my heart if it doesn't. I should be saying, if anything, you know what? All these years you didn't want us. Who are you that I should be begging for you and being mad that you're not recognizing me and getting mad that fucking, even though the other day I had a good conversation with the popular kid in the hall and I'm a horror geek, that this week I walked by him in the classroom. He didn't wave hello to me. I'm going to get mad about that. That's what it feels like to me. You should be, if someone does it, you should be saying, fuck you, Oscar. How's that? You don't want to recognize? I'm sick of trying to show you that I'm worthy of your acceptance. That's what it feels like to me. And I wish more horror fans would see we should be grateful, more than grateful, that because of social media and podcasts and things like this, that we have a great scene now. We have a Twitter. We have all these things. Everybody's sharing information and everything else, where years ago we didn't have that. 20, 30 years ago, horror fans didn't have this outlet. All we had was Fangoria and the letters and maybe a couple friends at school. Now we have Skype, podcasts. We have all this stuff. We have messages. We have all this stuff together. Shouldn't we just be happy that our little group is together and that we have this? Why do we still need recognition from mainstream folks and these guys that watch the Oscar? And I don't care. Don't take that wrong, B, because you watch the Oscars. Lots of people do that, I know. I'm not talking shit about the Oscars as a show. It's not for me. That's fine. I know a lot of people love it.
That's
but
okay.
Whatever. Exactly.
Yeah, it's completely fine.
I'm not shitting on that. I don't want it to come off like I am. It's not for me. I'm not into award shows, period. It's just not for me. But I mean, it's all bullshit. People know that people host parties and this and that to kiss the ass of the fucking people that are the judges and get noticed by the whatever they call it, the society. What's the word? Whatever it is, the Academy and all this other shit. And it's all
those awards are bought. I mean, even with advertising and stuff, because you see it all the time. A movie that it's just sort of like dissipates and everyone sort of forgets about because they're not advertising it, they're not re-releasing it, they're not. It's just the way it is. I don't know why people get so butthurt over these things.
So why do we as horror fans, with that knowledge, we're already in our own group. We're already anti-fucking the norm. We have our own thing here. Why do we want to be part of that? That's what I don't get. That's almost like atheists getting mad because the Catholic Church won't let them sit at their table or give them an award for most fastest growing religion. Or something. That's what it's like.
I wish I knew. I
It's
wish I knew, because
contradictory.
it is contradictory. Wanting to be popular and then complaining, oh, we're too popular.
That's what I'm saying. And I don't
Yeah.
mind being popular. I like it when a movie makes money. I mean, I'm just a viewer. Why
Look,
should I
so
hate on
these-
producers and directors? That's good on them and actors. Let them
Dude, everyone's
paid.
making horror
Fine.
movies now because they're making a fortune. Look at everyone coming out of the woodwork. You know, Chris Rock, Samuel L. Everyone's starting to make horror movies. They're in fashion. So
That's in fashion.
it's fine.
There
It's
Lots of
fine.
things
I have
are.
no problem. I love popular horror movies. I don't care.
But I mean, do we need an award? Isn't it nice enough to have conversations like this where we can say, you know what? Toni Collette was excellent in Midsommar. It elevated the movie. We all had a great time watching that. And isn't it nice that we can actually have discussions with each other through our group? Why do I need my fucking mother-in-law or my uncle or this or that to say that, and to recognize that?
Dude, we have our award shows. Every podcast has a year-end show. So we get like 100 different top 10s, top 15, top 20s, top 30s. So by the end of the year, you know, even if you didn't watch a lot of movies that year, you should have a list of 200 different horror movies that you could check out just from a small little horror community. I mean, it's not so small anymore, but from our horror community, which is just a fraction of the horror community represented in the, you know, country, the world, whatever. It's just
and we have what nobody has, B. You don't see comedy and sci-fi and all these others having these big clubs. I mean, sci-fi is too specific. Guys that are into sci-fi usually love this particular show or this particular. They don't have a like sci-fi convention that's not like horror.
Yeah.
Sci-fi has to piggyback off horror sometimes. You know what I mean? So I understand why comedy and other stuff that they need the recognition because that's all they have. We have something that's big that we don't need recognition from anyone else, or we don't have to rub noses with them or rub elbows. Pardon me. We don't need any of that. We have enough here where we as a community know what we have, where those other people don't have that. There's no comedy fucking. I mean, you know what I mean. There are comedy podcasts, but it's just everything is done differently. What horror podcast is and what our genre has is it's a very big thing that other genres just don't have.
Yeah.
So we should be happy that we have that. We shouldn't be trying to say, hey, we're over here, guys. Come here. Now can we hang out with you? Now are we okay to come over there? Or now will you throw us a bone? Please throw us a bone and recognize Toni Collette. Please throw us a bone and give us the best score for Neon Demon, or at least put it up there. And we'll be happy with what you have to say, the Almighty. That's what it feels like to me. I just wish that more horror fans had thought that way. So I'm shaming them for that. Although, again, maybe people are saying you should be shamed for thinking that, but I don't feel I should. I don't get it. I listen to so many horror podcasts and I've heard it so many times about these people crying about the Academy and how this and this. I'm like, well, if somebody keeps rubbing your face in the dirt, why do you want their recognition now? Every year horror skipped. Please notice us this year. That's like somebody being abused by somebody, and all you want to do is for them to love you and stop abusing you for a week.
I don't know if people are aware of this who are complaining when the nominations come out, because as somebody who watches the Oscars, and I don't follow it religiously, but you know there are precursor awards and stuff that about a month out before the Oscars, I could pretty much tell you who's going to be nominated in every single category a month before the nominations are announced. So when people are hearing nominations, oh, well, this person's not even on the radar. They have tracking things where that are almost 100% accurate. Where if they tell you the 10 films that are going to be nominated for Best Picture, they're right almost 100% of the time. So I don't understand why people are like, it's just these casual fans who think, oh, well, the Oscar nominations come out tomorrow, so they must be watching all the films tonight. It doesn't work like that. You know, I don't know. I never cared either way. I just like watching people talk about horror, listening to people talk about horror. I love watching, like, I just recently binged Eli Roth's horror show.
History of Horror?
Yeah, History of Horror. I hope he brings that. I like watching horror fans talk about horror. To me, that's like awards. You know, they're praising this. They're giving homage to, like, other films and stuff like that when they dissect the film. They're like, oh, well, this borrowed from this. You know, they're real historians on the subject. That's what I'd rather hear about than say, oh, Best Picture, Hereditary.
Well, I like documentaries. I don't necessarily like listening to other people talk about it. I like documentary stuff.
Yeah. I do like the visuals. I do need a visual.
Yeah, I like the visual. I just watched the one the other day. It's called Why Horror. It was okay. It was on Shudder. Then I watched the Tom Savini
I've seen
doc.
Why Horror. The Tom Savini doc was very good.
Really good. Yes, yeah, I really liked it.
One of my favorite docs of the last few years was the Fright Night one.
I gotta watch it.
You're so
that
cool,
was great.
Because just the passion they had and what went into making those effects, man, that was just like, I love everything about this. Even the Pet Sematary one was really good.
See, that's what I'm saying. Do comedies have things like this? Do other genres have like movies that come out and
comedies get shit on by the Oscars year after year?
Yeah. You don't see them crying. You don't see some. Why is Adam Sandler not nominated?
But there's not really that many. That's it. Like comedy doesn't have like a fanatic. Like people like comedies. People like to laugh. But there's not like. I don't like. I feel like there's not as many podcasts dedicated to. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't researched this one iota, but dedicated to focusing 100% on comedy, like there are to horror films.
Right.
You need to put an iota of research in.
But I have not done that. Speaking of research, I do want to put an end to one thing here. We're going to leave this up to Suri. Suri, what is Mr. Watson?
Watson, I thought we put this whole thing behind us. I'm sorry.
I love Watson. We talk about him because we love him.
This is the joke.
Gretzky!
Gretzky! Okay. All right. I guess we should move on to our final movie here, huh? Who picked it for us? Shrew's Nest. Well, I'll find out.
All right, I'll read the synopses while you're looking it up. Shrew's Nest.
Willie Penner. Willie Penner did. He gave us 3 to choose from.
Willie?
One of them.
Willie? I don't know.
Willie make it.
Next week to find out if he pens her.
Thank you, Willie.
Is that his real name, Willie Penner?
Oh, Willie Penner. He gave us 3 choices: Golden Glove 2019, Shrew's Nest, and The Nameless, 1999. And we chose.
Yeah, Nameless. We couldn't find. That's why.
We couldn't find Nameless
anywhere.
He hates Golden Gloves.
Golden Glove, I thought was fucking terrible, but
and Watson loves it. So
I know he does.
I gotta watch it.
I love Watson.
Me too.
I still gave Golden Glove a 4 out of 10. Okay, Shrew's Nest from 2014. Spain, 1950s. Monsi's agoraphobia keeps her locked in a sinister apartment in Madrid, and her only link to reality is the little sister she lost her youth raising. I'll stop reading there because it gives like a further synopsis, but it's just further story. First time watch for me.
Me too.
And
me as well.
Yeah. I'd always wanted to see it. I'd heard good things, and I'll have some criticisms, but I was pleasantly surprised.
I enjoyed it.
So you figured it, but you figured out the twist.
100%. Every single twist except for the very last one.
I had a feeling with the
100%. I knew the relationship. I knew.
Is that the last one? Isn't that the big last twist? Is the relationship?
No, the last one her last move, what she does when she goes.
We'll figure it out when we get.
Okay. I don't know if we could say we're doing spoiler or not, but
I think we almost have to.
Yeah.
On this one, I think we have to because that's where a lot of the meat lies.
Yeah. So this is going to be a spoiler-filled review. So if you haven't seen it, stop, watch it, come back to it. But we're going now. The very last image of her retreating back into the apartment, basically taking the place of her sister. I didn't picture her character arc going that way.
Is that what's going on?
Yeah, she's basically becoming her sister now and retreating into the Shrew's Nest.
So she's going to become agoraphobic, you're telling me?
Exactly. Which is the only thing I really didn't like about the film because her character was so much stronger throughout. But given the hardships she faced, especially in that last act.
You think that's what the ending was alluding to? That she was going to...
Yeah, she literally left Carlos out on the stoop and then just sort of retreated inside, shut the door.
Yeah, I was wondering why she did that, so maybe you're onto something. Why did she leave him on the stoop?
Like, she can't take this anymore. Like, she's just going to become like her sister. Like, the trauma of everything she just went through was the same as the trauma of what her sister went through. And she's retreating now. Which I didn't like, which took a point off this film for me, because I'm saying to myself, they're presenting her as like this young, strong character who's going to overcome. She's obviously overcome the death of her mother. Her father's been missing for 14 years, so she's had to live with heartaches. And I don't know. I saw it going a different way, but.
I'll tell you what brought it down for me. The picture scenario. It makes no sense why they would be a picture. That's all there is to it. The picture. Remember, she hid the picture with the skeleton and this and that of you being held by somebody. But there wouldn't be a picture in that situation. The other somebody was dead already. They sure wouldn't be sitting there smiling and holding her. You know,
I wasn't even thinking that, to be honest. I know what you're saying,
God.
but
wow.
Well, wait, no, everyone was still alive.
No,
yeah, it all happened after.
There was somebody died giving birth to somebody. So if I die giving birth to somebody, there surely couldn't be a picture of me holding the person that I died giving birth to.
Well, that's because that was a lie.
Yeah.
The mother did not die giving birth to her. The sister was her mother. Yeah. That was her sister.
That was the big plot twist.
No, I disagree.
Their mother-daughter.
She was replacing the mother. The mother died giving birth, and therefore.
No, that was the big lie. The whole plot twist was that her sister is her daughter.
I get that she was molested by the father, but why does that equal that?
Because that was the big twist. That's what the picture was there for, to show you that Monty is actually her mother, not her sister.
Oh, so when you looked at that picture, you were supposed to see that picture wasn't actually the mother, that it was Monty?
Yeah.
The kid is in the flashback.
Yeah, you see her in the flashbacks, and it's the same girl from the flashbacks.
Same girl. That was what I was just like. I'm like, oh my god, this movie. It was a sucker punch to me.
Dude, I saw that. I predicted it. I said to myself, she is the mother. I said this is, and I said not only that. I said not only is the father dead, which isn't hard to predict, because he's been missing for 14 years. I said not only is he dead, but he's buried somewhere in the house.
I think we screwed this review from, if you don't know anything about this movie. I know, Brandon, you set it up a little bit, but for the whole movie, we're presented that it's two sisters living together, and father's quote unquote dead, mother quote unquote died giving birth to the younger sister. But as the reveal is later on in the movie,
father's considered lost during the wartime, because this takes place in the 50s, so he's considered missing from the 30s. But
wait a minute.
That was a big reveal. She goes, "Don't stab me." There's a picture telling you, and then she went to get the picture to find out that her sister is actually her mother. She was raped by her father.
I know. Why do you say that, though? We saw the funeral in the beginning when the mother was dead after the child. No. Listen to me. We saw Monty, a young Monty, at the fucking funeral. Yes. We saw her. Okay. And the father took the cross and put it on her, and they said that she died at giving birth to your sister, and they fucking gave her the cross. Don't you remember that scene in the beginning? He came over and was talking to her, and all the family was there, and the woman was laid out in the coffin, and the father came over, and they were talking about how she died at giving childbirth, and then she came over, and then the father came over.
The story. I think she said she told the story of them saying that. She told her sister that she was telling the story of her sister that the mom died giving birth to her. Everything that you're saying happened, but there was no dialogue between the father and her saying that
exactly. And even in the flashbacks, you're only seeing Monty. You're not seeing. You're not seeing the little sister with the mother.
She was a baby at the time. Why would you see her?
There's no baby in that scene.
There's no baby at all. Yeah.
So you're trying to tell me that the mother just died young and that's the end of it?
Probably from abuse or something. Yeah. Because the father said then he turned his affection to the daughter and right away and became the replacement. And then the replacement it ended up, she gave birth to her daughter, who ended up, because it was, I guess, so shameful, they just said that they were sisters.
Well, I don't know. Then I don't understand why Nina got fucking so mad at her older sister for killing the father that was molesting her and was going to set his sights towards fucking her. I thought she'd be grateful at that and that she raised her as a result. Instead, she got mad. She was crying and she was trying to get her to go to bed solely so this poor little girl wouldn't have to hear her older sister fucking be molested in the next room. And she was so concerned with him fucking focusing and then maybe sexually abusing the younger sister that she killed him so it wouldn't happen. Yet when she told him, and she did bear the truth, which Carlos talked her into, fucking the truth shall set you free, because that's what Christ said. When she did the right thing, fucking the little sister got mad at her. I would have been grateful for that. That's something else that bothers me.
She's absorbing everything. I think I had no problem with it, any of this, to be honest. I thought, I agree when she first says I was trying to protect you. I think she was like, she thinks her sister's crazy. So
I
she's
get that.
being told this. And I think maybe there's like some sort of, memory of things because the younger sister is telling the story. Obviously, she's only remembering certain aspects and things are not really coming to light yet. She hasn't had any time to reflect on any of this. It's all being presented to her. And then the shit hits the fan. I think only upon reflection, as I think that's what we're presented the story, is her telling the story.
Plus, when she finds this out about the father, Elisa's already dead, Donna Puri and the daughter's already dead. So Monsi is killing a lot of people, and it's a fucking mess. So her memories of her father are, very few. So she wouldn't have the negative connotation. But the story, it's tragic for Monsi's sake because,
sure it is.
You're at first you're like, man, she's crazy. What the hell? She's reading the Bible and telling her scary stories. But when that's revealed, I'm like, oh, that's clever, and it's really tragic. And it's really tragic that Carlos didn't take a liking to her. I almost felt like, why Carlos like her? She's not bad.
No, you know what? You know what she reminded me of at first? The lady from the Black Gloves.
Yeah, she kind of looked like her a little bit.
Yeah, and she flipped out like her, and she kind of looked like her. But the thing is, that's the problem. Dumb men, as soon as this young 20-something walks in when she's pretty, that's all he cares about. And he's like, I'm going to stay there because of her. I'm like, yeah, okay. Fuck. I understand why he was hiding, but I mean, instead of setting his sights and flirting with the girl who's saving him and taking care of him and everything else from his perspective, and she's not a bad-looking girl herself, all of a sudden, this one comes in and then everything fucking changes. And
the other girl's actually gorgeous too, the older sister. But it helped with the twist, the fact that they made her look even older and more worn. I'm saying to myself, there's more to this. She is not just an older sister. She is. But oh man, I can't believe you caught that. That good eye on you then, because that was like a nice sucker punch. Like at the end, I was just like, oh, I just felt like. I was like, wow, this film just took me for a ride. The twist with Carlos and everything with Carlos, as to why he fell down the stairs and where he was going, it made sense, but I didn't see that coming. And
why did he fall down the stairs?
I think he's just clumsy, like rushing.
He was clumsy and tripped, but he was running away from, having to marry the girl who was pregnant with his child.
And why when they saw the girl? Go ahead, see, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, no, you're fine. I guess one issue I did say is, okay, he was there for the whole day. I know he kind of said, don't say anything, I'm kind of hiding, but I don't think he had that conversation with the younger sister yet. Why wouldn't she have called the police? Or there seems like there was one day too many that she probably should have called the police when she went out to do her daily chores whatever it was.
The time frame and her and little sister Nia's reaction, or girl, if you want to call it that, her reaction in some spots is a little off. One, when she first encounters Elisa in the apartment, Elisa goes downstairs and girl does not show back up until later on that night and says she was doing inventory. First of all, once you see Elisa's missing and she's dead, then you would call the police. Then again, she's helping Carlos out. She's talking to Carlos. Then she disappears and the older woman and her daughter show up. Where did she go then? Where did she go then? She's like disappearing at weird times, and it's not convenient to the time frame.
That's my biggest quibble. That's why it's higher than where I am. Is there was a little bit of convenience to allow the story to play out, where I don't think they even need to worry about it if they just structured or adjusted a couple of sentences of dialogue even.
Yeah, and she's like scared because the sister keeps telling her, well, I'm not going to let you back in. But if you bring the police, they're gonna kick the door in. They're going to find these dead bodies and they're going to take you away.
That I was thinking, right. And how come, two questions. Number one, how come when the girl was passed out after getting her ass kicked by her sister and she was laying in the hallway, those two guys just were really calm about it, just put a blanket on her? I thought that didn't make a whole lot of sense. And how come later on, when little Nina was upstairs in Carlos's place, didn't it seem like she made the discovery and then the fiance went downstairs? Why was she still in that room when the other person came back? Remember, she had to hide because someone else came back, maybe the mother-in-law or the father, the cop. Why would she still be
not
there?
Not the cops, but
whoever the fuck it was. Why would she still be hanging out in Carlos's apartment all that time?
There were some timing issues there. It
was very strange. It was almost like she would leave the house and just go stand in that apartment for hours on end.
Okay, so you guys agree that was fucked up. What about her laying in the hallway? Did that make sense to you?
Well, I think she was just locked out of her house. She had no other place to go.
It made sense that she went right outside onto the landscape where her sister couldn't attack her. But the fact that I don't know. It did feel a little weird. I mean, the guys were drunk and they're just introducing you to Carlos because he's like, oh, she's beautiful. Let's put a blanket on her. So
you're convenient for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To introduce that there's gonna be a love affair here. I don't know.
Love affair.
That was it. They were making a love affair. The what Brandon was saying is very true though, and Dave, I think you said this as well. It's like when she goes up there, I think that's where she runs into the ex-wife, right? Or the love interest.
Whatever.
Yeah. Tells her that he's downstairs.
Yeah.
Right.
Why wouldn't she? Like that's exactly it. She tells her she's downstairs.
She wants her busted.
She wouldn't tell the cops or anybody else. This guy's leg is rotting. That's where I had, like, there was one day too many that she was not saying anything, and then that was to get her to go up to the apartment finally. She runs into the fiance. The fiance goes down, so yes, she's just hanging upstairs, or she went to work. I think you're supposed to get the idea that the fiance went downstairs to confront her, and she went off to do inventory. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, bullshit. No,
that does not make sense.
Because she even warned her not to go down there because her sister's dangerous. So she wouldn't run off and be like, oh, I'm going to go do inventory now. It was very...
No one could hear her screaming. I think she got down there and got killed. She was screaming like she's right upstairs. I think it does cut back up to her and she's still upstairs, like Dave said. I think she's still just sort of hanging about. So those things were a little awkward. However, I'm somewhat forgiving of them.
Okay, listen, I understand why she told the fiance he was downstairs, because she was caught red-handed in Carlos's apartments with the key. So you got to say something. Like when the cops questioned her, at that point she's still trying to cover up for her sister. But then when the fiance sees her in Carlos's apartment, now it's her ass caught red-handed. She has to give some reason why she's there. So that's why I think she's like, well, I have no choice but to tell her the truth. Carlos is downstairs. So I don't mind that,
But even later on, when Carlos tells her, he says she was pregnant, because he doesn't know what happened. He didn't see her get killed. He did see her getting killed. He saw her getting chopped up, and he got punched out. And then he wakes up in bed and he tells Nia that she was pregnant, and that's why he was running away. He was being forced to marry a girl who was pregnant with his child. And then she disappears again. You don't even see where she goes. She just disappears. And that's when the mother and daughter show up to get the wedding dress. And that whole setup for that kill, like, it looks cool with the sewing needle through the mouth. But there are two of them there. And this older sister, she's so weak and feeble. Like, it just seemed like two giant bodybuilders.
Could they both fight her off or something?
Arnold and Stallone were in the corner going, as a little girl is coming to kill them. And then next thing, they're dead. Like, like, are you kidding me? Like, it just seemed like.
It's funny that as we're playing it back out, I'm like, yeah, there's some issues, but not enough to sink the movie because it's very well done. Now, I will say it takes a while. Like, there's a lot of not just characterization, but it's almost more dramatic for the first 2/3. Or at least for the first half, and then it becomes very misery-like, and then the final act is very horrific.
Absolutely.
Dude, I love where she hid the torso of the of the fiance.
Oh
though.
yeah, that was
That was
cool.
awesome. Putting her as the mannequin for the dressmaking.
Yeah, why did she do that? It's like, why was she gonna expose that? It's like almost like she wanted to show her name when she came for the appointment with her daughter for the wedding dress. Like, it doesn't make sense that she would expose that because she's getting the morphine and all that other shit. And another thing, why would you give morphine to someone that's only issue is that they're agoraphobic? How does that help with fucking that? It doesn't make any sense at all. Why would that be the medicine? I was shocked when I learned later on that it was morphine. I'm like, wait a minute. Shouldn't it be some fucking antidepressant or antipsychotic? Or something? Why would it be pain medicine? She's not in fucking physical pain. That's what morphine is for. Or to get them high, but I'm like, weird, isn't it?
There's clearly something more going on than her agoraphobia because you see her in bed like freaking, like she's having these fits.
Well, she's fucked up. She's, what do you call it? It's PTSD because her father, everything that he put her. That's why he's haunted by fucking his ghostly presence, which is in her head. You know what I mean?
Is it PTSD or is it T-putts?
So that's what I said. What about the other thing I said with the bodysuit being on that thing? Does that make sense that she would put that there? That's almost like a reveal, like, look, I'm crazy and now I'm gonna kill you. She wasn't planning on doing that. She was planning on making the dress for the morphine. So by having that there, that doesn't make a lot of sense, no? Or am I looking too deep into it?
No, I think they started to uncover it.
But you have to use that for a dress.
Yeah,
I think she was.
I think she was. I think she was
fucking rotting flesh.
I think she was just gonna take some measurements. Like, it was panic because she didn't have anywhere to get rid of everything. So she was like,
True.
Oh, you're right. I gotta fix my headphones there, but I caught the last part of what you're saying. I think she's just at this point so manic and gone so far down the rabbit hole that there's no chance to get back out.
That's fair. But what about the morphine? Why would a doctor risk fucking giving morphine to someone who, as far as we know in the conversations, and even the conversations she has with that doctor, are about her being agoraphobic and not being able to step out the door? Morphine would have nothing to do. That would be like fucking giving cocaine to someone who was fucking anorexic.
But morphine is delicious. Gotta be honest. I don't care what my problems are. I can always take some morphine.
Oh, sure.
Was did she have an underlying problem that needed morphine?
She said she said she would take it, before a nap or before bed to help her sleep. Probably just because, like Dave said, the PTSD and the nightmares and the trauma of everything she'd been through. So it was probably just that. But I'm sure there was a less invasive sleep agent. Probably a less invasive sleep agent to help at that point.
I guess so. It's the 1950s, so I don't know what's available and what's popular and everything else.
Fuck morphine, man. Can you imagine taking morphine every night before bed?
Right, just take opium.
Wake up feeling like a fucking $1,000,000 every morning. Like,
no shit.
Until you needed it again.
Right, yeah, and we saw what happened when she didn't get it. Damn. That was a great third act, though, too. Shit fucking went crazy.
Yeah.
And the twists were good. Like, even though, like,
I agree.
I'm not one who, like, I never really predict twists. I even said it to my dad because he watched it with me. He enjoyed the film too. I even said to my dad, like, this is what's happening. This is happening. I said, that's the mother. Father's dead and buried in the house, and this is all gonna be revealed, and it was, but it was still enjoyable the way it was all revealed, and it was tragic. I really felt for Monsi's character. I think Monsi's character was the stronger character, and her behaviors, even though not always, like, we just talked about with the morphine and stuff, not always making perfect sense. Given her trauma, you can justify it. It's Nia's character, even though the girl did a terrific job. Those timeline issues kind of just throws it off for me, and ultimately her switch and arc at the end, just deciding to retreat back into the apartment the way her sister did for all those years, and leaving Carlos out there, just seemed like, I don't know, counterproductive to everything you just went through this whole hour and a half.
Oh.
What about the religious angle? We didn't talk about that. That was heavy-handed.
It was
a lot of religious talk.
I thought it was really well done.
Yeah.
When you say heavy-handed, you mean you didn't like it?
No, I mean it was just very prevalent in the plot. Yeah. There was a lot of it. There was a lot of Bible talk and crucifix and trying to and even he was trying to throw it in Monsi's face, saying Jesus Christ, you worship him, and he said the truth will set you free and all that other stuff. It was all over the place. You know what I mean? Even her she didn't want the crucifix looking at her. She hid it under the bed. Then later on, she smashed the crucifixes and she attacked the one person with it. I think her sister maybe even. But I know that was used as a weapon. There was a lot of religious imagery just in there. Lots of prayer in the beginning. They were doing Lord's Prayer and Hail Marys and very, very Catholic stuff going on here. But not heavy-handed in a way where, it was used for anything in particular except maybe a form of control. I don't know. Maybe just one more.
Well, and also, a lot of people don't know this because it was like, it's only in the old versions of the Bible, but Joseph used to sew Mary's legs to the bed, and that's how the Immaculate Conception happened. So they tied that back in quite nicely, I thought, in this movie.
Oh, that poor fucking leg. Oh, man.
It looked a little CG when they first showed it, did it not? Remember when they first showed the shot when what's her name looked at the leg and she reacted to it, right? And then he wanted to see it and he kind of pulled the things back and he looked at it and the way the leg was just sewn into the bed, it looked like a CG spot, almost like a picture. I don't know.
I almost thought to myself, did she hurt his leg even more than it was? Because I can't imagine. Like, I mean, I guess you fall downstairs, you can break your leg, but like that thing looked mangled.
Yeah, it was really mangled.
If your leg's that fucked up, even if you're running away from a woman you impregnated and needed to marry her, wouldn't you be like, I get a doctor at this? Like, you start screaming for a doctor at some point. But that's why he said there's one day too many in that timeline that just went on a little too long. But all in all,
or she shouldn't have discovered him until much later on, one way or the other.
Yeah, but that'd be who shouldn't have discovered him? Nia or the fiance?
Yeah, Nia.
Oh, no.
They could have done that with the drugging, her morphining.
Morphining. It's like AMing.
Morphine.
AMEs. What do you want to? What would you rather watch, the AMEs or the Oscars? Tell me.
Or the Morphinis.
The Morphinis. No, that would have been too fake, though. That would have been like fucking Housebound. Where come on, how dumb do you think that this girl's supposed to be?
Love that movie.
Yeah, Housebound's fantastic. Nothing wrong with being like Housebound.
Yeah, but come on, that's the problem with it. How do you not know somebody's in the house? That girl, it's an apartment. Come on, you're not gonna know that someone else is living in that house. You're going to see your sister occasionally running in there to help them and everything. That would have been
she didn't know Papa was in the walls for the last 14 years. Papa.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I'm glad it was revealed when it was. If they would have said that reveal, I would not have liked the movie. I would have said, oh, come on. You're pulling my leg. Who are you trying to get here? It's like Housebound. That's why I don't like that.
Well, they could have had her spend more time with her boyfriend outside, but I guess they needed to develop her relationship with Carlos as well. So, but anyway,
right, that's important.
Which didn't feel genuine because I don't know.
He just was attracted to her. She's a pretty young thing,
I felt bad for the boyfriend when she broke up with him.
Yeah, because she fell in love with some guy with a bum leg.
Yeah. You bum.
Did she break up with him all of a sudden? He just stopped being.
You could see him on the street. They don't say anything, but you could just see his like sour puss, and he turns and walks away.
Oh, I didn't get that out of there.
You're breaking it up for a guy with a bum leg.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? Right. Dude, yeah, because he would have lost his leg. It would have been gangrene. Because he said it was getting worse. He goes, because he told her. Remember when she said, I'm going to confess to you? And he goes, you're not being honest with me. And he goes, and if I do leave this house, it's going to be with just one leg because I'm going to lose my leg. So the direction they were going in, and you could see it. That's what would have happened. She's no doctor. She thought she was trying to get it better, maybe, and giving him the morphine and everything else and keep it out, whatever she was doing with it. But I mean, he probably would have lost the damn leg. It was in a terrible. Did you see
no, that leg was not salvageable.
It was not coming back.
No.
They'd have to put like a pogo stick there or something.
Yeah, he's got a case of the bad legs.
He sure does.
Oh, God. I'm going to hell.
That's right. Just don't talk about ARC anymore. You'll be all right.
Yeah, you'll be fine. No more donations.
So what? The ARC?
Does ARC still exist or no?
I didn't look that up.
No, it was a company that was doing some good, but I want to know if they still exist now. Is it like KFC where no one knows what the letters stand for at this point because they don't want to say Kentucky Fried Chicken because fried's a bad word. So you think ARC still exists? They just don't acknowledge what the letters stand for?
Wait, fried's a bad word? What the hell's going on?
Well, it's not good for you. Fried food, deep fried. You know what I
mean? Okay.
They want,
I don't know why. The minute you said that, I immediately thought racial. I'm like, what's fried mean?
Fried. that fucking clan of Frieds over there. Get them out of my country.
Well, that's what I thought. Like nobody says fried anymore. Like yeah,
well,
you're right.
that's why they shorten it to KFC to not promote Kentucky Fried Chicken, because fried is a turnoff to people trying to eat healthy. So like, let's not say fried, and they won't pick up. Just like Arby's, you know. Arby's, you know. Yeah.
So, ratings.
Thank you, Jared.
I always get smoked but I'm just trying to bring us back on track because it's fucking 4 hours later.
This is true. Well, it's the last of these type of shows. This is it. We're going out with bangs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. They got to pay for They're not getting ratings. We'll give them ratings in episode 100.
episode 100.
101.
Episode 100 is going to be a quick one anyway. So.
Yeah.
I
imagine epic.
Even if we keep, what, just talk about each movie for 3 minutes, it's only going to be 17 and a half hours.
Yeah, it's going to be long.
That's what it's going to be. I'll keep us on track. Don't you fucking worry about it.
Keep us on track.
So, want me to go with the rating?
Well, you said I'm going to keep us on track. That's where I thought you were going.
That show. Because that show is not going to go long. I'm going to make sure we're boom, boom. It's going to be 100. We're going to be down to the top 10 within 20 minutes.
100. Boom. Next. 99. Next.
I'll spill the beans on this movie. One-time watch. Really enjoyed it. Love the plot twist. 8 out of 10.
Wow. I was going to be 8 out of 10. Then I was going to drop it because of the photo thing. Then I was going to raise it because you guys said, so I'm just going to go back and there's some more issues. 7.75. How's that? That's what I'm going with.
Fuck, he stole my rating.
Really?
7.75 out of 5.
It's better than 8 out of 5, right? Nice.
Not quite an 8 out of 5, but close. First time watch would just just fall shy being that 8 out of 10, but it's a really good film.
Absolutely.
Like I said, this could have played in as being one of the contenders. I don't know if it would have made it or not, but I really enjoyed the film.
Yes. Yeah, me too. I finally found it. Ark. Okay. In 1950, little was known. I want to see what it is now. You know what I mean? This has been bugging me, changing with the times.
I believe it's now Ark Bees.
Oh, see?
Well,
here it is.
Joke.
Words matter. Over time, as the words retardation and retarded became pejorative, derogatory, and demeaning in usage, the organization evolved its terminology to reflect the desires of people with disabilities and changed its name to the Ark. So there you go. They kept the name, but they added the to it.
It's just the Academy of Retarded Citizens.
Yeah, in 1992,
Association, not Academy.
Academy.
We would like to recognize Toni Collette for Hereditary.
Well, she wouldn't get the award. Her daughter would have got the award. Charlie would have got the award for that group.
Yeah. Hey, life goes on. Wins every year.
1992, it was changed. Because this is what it was. 1953 to 73, National Association for Retarded Children, NARC, N-A-R-C. Then 1973 to 81, National Association for Retarded Citizens, NARC. NARC is a bad thing because it's like, an ARC, So they had to change that because that became a big phrase in the 80s. 81 to 92, the Association for Retarded Citizens of the United States, ARC. In 1992 to present, the Ark of the United States. That's all they can say. The Ark.
Oh my God.
And they have one for dogs too, called Bark.
The downfall is that joke. I don't even want to crack my joke because yours is much better.
Bark. I don't know why. That's really funny to me.
Noah's Ark. Noah's Bark.
No, that's it. They got the Ark. They only put 2 of them.
No,
Noah's Bark should be like a cartoon with a bunch of dogs on a boat. That'd be cool, man.
Yeah, you might be onto something. That sounds like it's worth $500 million in box office.
Well, we'll put that in. That'll be in our movie. Nah, second. Second's the silly shit. Yeah, Bark. Release the Wawas. They live on the Bark. Yes, I get it. They live on Noah's Bark. That's how they're coming over. That's how they got trained Chihuahuas. Yeah. Wow.
That line wedged in there somewhere, B.
Those release the Wawas.
Noah's Bark and Release the Wowas. They're going to be fucking household names to horror fans. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, lots of fun. See, that's the thing about that's the thing about these afternoon shows. We start early and then we realize we don't have to rush, and then
it's nothing but our banter, because our reviews were probably like an hour and 15 minutes total, maybe that long. So we kind of just talked for like 3 hours.
We talked about watching way more than we should have. I'm editing that fuck down.
Yeah, get rid of that. That email was so long and tedious.
We got an email from Watson, and it'll go right into our review. Seamless transition.
Thanks again to Willie Penner and Jonathan Newcomer for
tonight. Watson would be good as a cannibal. I bet he'd cut that skin real thin. I love this guy. He's gonna be so pissed. Watson, we're kidding. It's a joke. We love you. We'll have you on. We'll see you on episode 200.
Nice. So that's that. What? Thin? Yeah,
Siri, shut up.
It's Siri.
Whatever. I do say Surrey.
Yeah, well, yeah, Surrey. Krampus likes to use Surrey. What can you do? You know what I mean? My number 12 movie of the millennium, Krampus. He always calls it Krampus.
Who calls it that?
Lots of people, but as far as podcasts go, Andrew Schroyer always pronounces it Krampus. I think because, you know why? Is he German? Schroyer, is that a German name? Because that's what the old German lady says. The Krampus. You know what I mean? So maybe you're trying to be authentic in the pronunciation.
Sounds like an instrument you play in marching band. What do you play? I play the Krampus.
I play the Krampus for Ark.
And I'm going to get on the Ark. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, get out of here. Everybody will be back for the big the big 100 show.
We should just do that. Just throw an extra 0 on there. These guys have been around for that long.
Imagine that. Then we have to have the top 1,000 shows of the millennium. Then it'd be all fucked up. Or movies, sorry. Yeah. So anyway, episode 100. We'll be back next week for the big show. Or not next week, but next show for the big one. And we always fuck up the exit. But that's okay. We made it this far. We'll probably continue to. Wait till we're just patrons.
The entrance isn't much stronger, and the stuff in the middle isn't that much stronger either. So. But people seem to enjoy it, and we thank you. And we love you.
Yeah, we enjoy them listening and everything else, and each other. So, mwah, nothing but love. And see you next time.
Good night, everyone. See you next time.
See you next time.